Hello and welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Kandrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are the Yerky Boys. Oh man, we're so close. This is book 52, The Sacrifice.
Which was released in March 2001.
Oh man. Man. We are so close.
The countdown is continuing. It's still countdown time. Only 2 more books until the end.
4 dots, of course.
Technically, there's 3 more books, including this one. Unless they're saying the last book is the end, so there's 2 more books until the end.
I was thinking after, this book doesn't count, right? You got this one, only 2 more.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah. I wish it said only 2 more books until it's over. Because then it would be clear that the last book was included. But now I'm trying to understand, is the last book the end? Or is it not the end until you finish reading the last book?
This is a fascinating conversation.
I just think there's some ambiguity there that could be cleared up. And that would do us all a lot of good. I think this is going to be a really good episode.
Okay, good. I'm glad you think that.
Already we're off to a great start with some scintillating conversation. Not a lot of other things are scintillating. You ever notice that? You never really have a scintillating train ride, you know? Conversations, sure. I never picked up a book and said, that was a real scintillating novel I read.
I'm pretty sure I've read that on the jacket of a book or something at some point.
I don't think you have.
I must have. That must be a thing someone has said.
And here's another question. Why are all these books wearing jackets? What, are they afraid they're going to catch a cold?
We don't have any... We need the Seinfeld slap bass to play us in.
We don't have any emails this week or anything. There's no business. As far as I know, there's no business. So I think we can, once again, get right into it.
Everyone's abandoned the show at this point.
That's right. Well, they're waiting with bated breath. They know we're so close to the end. They don't want to say anything that might distract us or throw us off course. They're saving all their thoughts because they don't want to spoil anything. There's all these ideas circulating inside their little brains, scintillating in there.
Yeah, to be fair, this is the time you got to be the most careful, right? When you're right up there. Because if I spoiled the ending for you in book 20, you wouldn't remember it.
Right. But now I feel like everywhere I go, I'm being so careful. I'm around every corner. When's the next Animorph spoiler going to jump out at me? Surprisingly, very few people are actually discussing the ending spoilers of Animorphs on the internet or anywhere in a general day-to-day basis. It's not very easy to run into that. So it's actually pretty easy to avoid. So that's good.
That is good. That's an easier time than you normally have of it.
Yeah. I have installed, a browser extension that will block keywords if I'm avoiding spoilers for something. That's what kind of a guy I am.
This is our last ghost-written book.
Holy moly. You know what that means. This house is clean. We have exorcised the demons.
What's happening?
We got rid of the ghosts.
Are you
it's
on
not
your
haunted
coffee again over there? Is that what's happening today?
No, this is actually what's called
days.
This is my second wind. Is what's happening. You missed the first one, and now we're just gonna see where that gets us.
It was our first attempt at the podcast.
Yeah, we did 2 today.
We had to do it again. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened is I accidentally, instead of reading the sacrifice, I accidentally sacrificed myself.
There's got to be something called the sacrifice, right?
There probably is. I don't know. I stopped looking them up.
But yeah, last ghost written book. It's all going to be Applegate after this. So this is pretty momentous. That like this was an era. It's been like a year since we started Ghostwriters.
Yeah, it's a large era. It's a large part of the Animorphs canon. Of course, we did have Visser and Megamorphs, but
Right.
you know,
But it's not the same.
it's not the same. It is different. And this ghostwriter is Kimberly Morris.
That's correct.
And I still, I mean, we're now also at the end of this little mini period of the season where, as we've stated numerous times, we had the back and forths between her and someone else.
Harkonnen.
Right, Lisa Harkonnen. And last week, I think we had, we drew comparisons between that book and The Unexpected that Harkonnen also wrote.
Mm-hmm.
This still, I already have forgotten. None of these ghostwriters have, other than Ellen Jarrow, really.
Mm-hmm.
None of them really have left impressions on me. Not even like good or bad. Like if you ask me right now, what's Kimberly Morris's thing? I don't know that I know what her thing is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of connections that I'm going to make between this book and her other books, but they're not stylistic. And they're not. Yeah, we'll talk about it when we get to it. But yeah, I don't necessarily know exactly what her deal is either.
I suppose that's a good thing. I mean, I guess that's the job of the ghostwriter, right? You're not supposed to stand out necessarily.
Yeah, that's probably true.
You're the ghost. You're haunting this book. They should have had a ghost book. Are there ghosts in the last two?
Well, I mean, don't want to spoil it.
How fun would it be if they had to morph a ghost?
That could be pretty fun.
The cover of the book is Marco just turning into Marco with a white sheet with eye holes in it.
They do the Ellimist Chronicles tease that one of the characters might die, and then it turns out they just they die midway through book 53 and then immediately come back as a ghost, and then they're there as a ghost.
Oh, I thought that it was just going to be they morph into a ghost, so they're technically
dead.
Oh,
okay. I thought it'd be more fun if one of the characters just was a ghost now. Maybe all of them could be ghosts now.
But what about this? Crossover with Beetlejuice. They got to morph into a sandworm.
Yeah, that's kind of timely.
Yeah, right. For us, it is right now.
Yeah, not necessarily for you, the listener, but
because we're on the verge of Beetlejuice, the third Beetlejuice movie being released.
By the time you listen to this.
Yeah, could very well be the case. Who knows?
Hey,
hey, Rachel, what's up? That's Beetlejuice in Animorphs.
Jesus.
What? It was good?
That's all you had?
What is...
Hey, Rachel, what's up?
Look, here's the problem. There wasn't much I could think of him to say that wasn't sexual assault. That's kind of Beetlejuice's character. Basically, that's what he does.
I mean, I see why he's your favorite character.
Well,
in fiction.
I have on many occasions I have said Beetlejuice is my favorite fictional character, next to God, of course.
Oh, whoa, spicy. Too spicy for this.
Let's talk about this. Yeah, this book
doing?
We'll avoid all spice and controversy. Oh, spice. Wait a minute. Are we back on Dune again?
Yeah, I think we're back on the sandworms here.
Oh, there's a triple crossover.
Maybe next book we can talk about sandworms some more. Maybe.
Yeah, imagine if Cassie had to survive on the desert world of Arrakis.
It's like snuck aboard a spice freighter.
Yeah, that's right. And she meets a cute Fremen. Fremen. That's right.
The word.
Yeah, she meets one of them, and they're like, "Okay, all right, okay, we're having fun.
Doing?
We're having fun. Let's start this book."
It's not time for fun. It's time for a podcast.
This is serious.
Yeah. You want to know a fun fact about this book from Seropedia?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I'm going to quote here. This is the last book published in the Italian translation, since the Italian editor, Mondadori, declared that the last two books, they added nothing to the ending.
What?
The Italian translations of the last two books are fan translations and were released for free on a fan site.
Wait, that's crazy. I mean, regardless of his statement, how does the translator has the authority to make that decision?
You have to take it up with Mr. Mondadori.
Is that a person, or it's not a company, or a publisher?
I don't know. It's a word. I don't.
Maybe it's a publisher. Because how could one person just have the power to just say no, we're done with it?
I like to imagine him as a guy, but yeah, it could be.
Either way,
it's insane. It's insane. Because I mean, what if this is the ending to the series? Are you happy with that?
No, this is not. It's not even remotely resolved. There's not even a. There's nothing. You can't even be like, oh, it's open-ended kind of. It's just not the end. Also, did it still say in Italian 2 more to go?
I think he probably just didn't like that the story diverts into being a pure Helmicron thing from here on out, and he just kind of thought that wasn't relevant.
Yeah.
But that's incorrect.
Right. He probably thought they should have gone with Cassie on Arrakis.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I read that, and I was like, that's, insane.
These fucking Italians over here. Hey! I got so much of pizza in my mouth, I can't even read in my book.
You're losing us, listeners, with your overt racism over there.
Sorry, they're like, what? Mamma mia! Aximili doesn't go to the food court and eat the Sbarro? This is no good.
Aximili is a really good Italian name.
It is. It is. That was just accidental, but it's really good.
Okay.
No Italians in this series. No Italians.
Yeah, I think that's
maybe,
true. Yeah.
I don't know about Juan and Terry. Oh yeah, Pete and Dominic. Yeah, there's some Italians there.
That could be. Yeah, it's possible.
Okay. So the cover now? Or?
Axe is turning into a raccoon on this cover.
He sure is.
There it is.
I mean, this is very funny to see just a long raccoon. like a raccoon with the proportions of a horse is very funny and weird.
He's got body segments or something.
With his large striped tail.
Yeah, I love his little tail. I love how, it's got a little blade on it.
Yes, which kind of looks like a hand, though. It's like he's got a little mitten. It's incredibly stupid that this is what we're dealing with now, is a raccoon, which it should not surprise any of the listeners, but it's completely ancillary to the plot of the book. I mean, it's
Although, Axe does say that it's quickly becoming one of his favorite morphs. He loves this raccoon.
Yeah, he does say that. Also, kind of interesting, they don't usually do this when he's in his full raccoon morph. He's got a prop in his mouth.
That is true.
There's not many covers where I guess I'm also wondering, so did he have that in his mouth as a raccoon and then it was in Z space? Like, did he morph that thing in his mouth?
No, that's the thing. That's the Z space transponder.
Yeah, but he's not holding it in his andalite form on this cover.
Well, he doesn't have a mouth to hold it in to morph, so it's on the ground and he'll pick it up.
Here's the question. What if he has it in his mouth, completely inside of his mouth, in the cheeks and everything, morphs into andalite? Maybe it's still inside of his head, even though he can't open or close his mouth. That's like a pocket he has.
That could be pretty cool. I bet that's probably if you're all stuffed up, you got a sinus ache. It feel like that, I bet.
I wouldn't know. I was blessed with none of those issues.
Sure.
So stupid cover, kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I love it. It is crazy that this is the third to last book and we're doing this dumb raccoon thing, but it is very fun. It feels like the sort of cover that should have been, maybe the second Axe cover instead of a mosquito for the second Axe cover.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, what at this point, what is the right direction? Because
yeah.
I mean, the dog I was fine with because it was plot relevant for the Tobias book. The raccoon and the owl are just, they're just grasping at straws. It's stupid. But what do I want? Do I want them to force a cool morph into it? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know that this grabs you because a lot of the books you can kind of recognize. I feel like if you after this read through, you know what I mean, let's just wait 5 years and then I show you the cover of a book, you're not going to know which one this is.
I don't know. I might see that thing in his mouth. I might remember that. But, well, you know what? Maybe it's just they shouldn't have been so caught up on having a new animal. Like, just let him be a whatever, but in a cool new pose.
Mm-hmm. A human for the third time.
Yeah, I mean, that is unfortunately the most significant thing he morphs into in this book. He could be a bird. He could be a falcon or something.
Yeah, he could be a bird again after that series where they had the bird in 33. You have a bird turning into an Andalite, and then 38 you have an Andalite turning into a bird. We could do another bird Andalite.
Fuck! You know what? Just... fuck it. Put James on the cover. I don't know.
Right?
Tell Axe the fuck off.
Get out of here, Axe.
Boy, he'd hate that.
That's
all right.
True.
The cover. I mean, the quote.
Yeah, the quote. So it says, everyone has nightmares, but what happens when the nightmares are real? There's no ... I don't really know what that has. I guess because Yerks are scary.
Was this supposed to be on the Familiar book cover? What is that?
Or the Return, maybe?
Yeah.
And then this one could have had that David's back quote on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just saying that's right, David's back as a raccoon. Yeah, it's just saying Yerks are scary, I think.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. I think it sucks.
It sucks so much for how wordy it is. At least for some of them suck, but they're just clearly they had to go home at 5 p.m. and they just shit something out. But this one, it feels like they put thought into it. Like it should have a relevance, but it doesn't.
I'm not going to lie. Every time I don't see dots, it makes me see red a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
I need the dots.
That's
it's
fucked
kind
up.
of getting me angry.
I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I will give them one thing to cheer us up.
Uh-huh.
The title of this book is at least a little bit meaningful.
It's
not
true.
It's not just a random noun they found in a hat.
Yeah, or the last several and the next several maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
So that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cover. It's honestly a fun cover for how bland it is. It's only bland because of how late in the series we are.
I'm not crazy about I guess I just really like the middle morph. I guess the raccoon with the thing in his mouth is cute.
I mean, I like the almost last one. I like him just a little bit Andalite-ish.
He just got those little eye stalks peeking out.
Yeah, he's still got that cute bulbous raccoon body,
Yeah.
Inner cover, it says Axe has a secret ...
Mm-hmm. Now that's something I didn't read before reading the book, so I have no idea there was a secret to come.
Yeah.
There's at least one revelation in this book. They could have called it that.
Every time there's a revelation, well, that's what we'll just call all of them the revelation. Well, maybe
I
half
think
of them.
so. I'm looking at the Italian cover, by the way.
Oh, you're not looking at the inner cover?
I'll get there in a minute. But I just wanted to say this.
I'm not looking. I don't
And
have the Italian
it's on
cover.
Seropedia, and
Yeah,
it
but I'm
has.
not
Yeah,
gonna
well,
look
I
at
found
that.
it. And it also, by the way, it definitely is Mondadori is printed on the cover. That's definitely the publisher.
Okay.
It's
I
not
still
a
think it's a
human
guy.
being. But they reversed it on the Italian. Axe is facing the other way for some
Whoa.
reason.
It's
I
because
don't
they
know
write
why.
right to left over there.
And I can confirm at the top it does not say anything about a countdown. So
Maybe the other ones. Maybe they were like only one more book to go last time.
yeah, maybe. All right, inner cover.
Yeah.
There's absolutely
There he
nothing to
is.
say about this.
Yeah, there he is. It's X, the raccoon. He's in the woods.
You can see more of the device, I guess, more detail.
When was the last time? I guess book 48, right? That we actually got like an interesting inner cover. Like last time, it was just some ducks.
Yeah.
And the time before that, Cassie was flying.
Yeah.
Outside a building, and the time before that, I guess they were in the 7-Eleven, which looked like a grocery store. Like, yeah. These inner covers are really kind of. They're just not bringing their A game here.
Well, when you choose the cover morph to be from a not interesting part of the story, I mean, I guess this is an interesting part, but it's not visually interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like that's what you got to work with. They could have gone with birds attacking each other, or I mean, there's like 4 different mass animal battle scenes, but no, they just went with this shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad they always have to be morphing. They could have put Axe in like a cool battle pose. Or like maybe they give him a battle morph that's not Axe. You know? Then he could morph into that.
Yeah. Oh well. He just morph into a bigger Andalite.
He could morph into Visser 3.
That would be cool. Oh no, he could. Yeah, or well, I guess he'd be morphing into Alaran.
Right. Do you
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say. This is our last Axe cover, our last Axe inner cover, our last Axe book.
Yeah.
This is the end of Axe.
The end of Axe. We're giving him the axe, so to speak.
You did speak it.
Did you have a question or something, or was that?
No, I just wanted to make sure that we said that, and then I kind of forgot what I was saying halfway through. It's okay. Right. Don't worry about it. I'm okay over here. There's nothing's wrong. This is going to be a good podcast. Everything is okay.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the book, man. Let's get it done. There's a lot. There's a lot going on in this book.
I don't know. I don't think we wasted enough time yet.
All right. You want me to do some more like what if Cassie ended up on Tatooine?
Right, yeah. Well, that's kind of similar to the last one, isn't it?
Okay. What if Cassie ended up, I don't know, on like that planet from Pitch Black with Riddick?
What if Tobias had to have an air battle with an Ikran?
Wow.
That could be cool.
I mean, he'd get fucked up. Kron would fucking eat him for lunch. You kidding me?
Yeah, but think about how good Tobias is at flying.
That's true. Yeah. Oh man, if they could morph into an Ikran, oh shit. They fucking morph into an Elu and they go swimming in the water.
How do you
They Cassie fucking takes out one of the helicopters by morphing midair into a Tulkun.
Fanfic idea.
Oh wait, they're not called.
Animorphs
wait, Tulkun is Tulkun
on Pandora.
Okay, yeah, good. Damn it, I wanted that one. Shit, we gotta come up with those pretty soon, huh? All right, let's come on, please. It's time for this.
Let's do it. Okay, let's do it. All right. Moment. Axe, Rachel, and James, a team we've never seen before. They are birds. And they're scouting. And so they're out in the city, and they see some people being loaded onto subway trains. It's the Yerks, and they are like herding people into the pool, like in huge groups. So they're trying to decide if they should check it out, by which I mean Rachel's saying they should check it out, and Axe is saying that sounds like a bad idea. Because, we don't have Jake, we don't have a team. And they get attacked by a squad of Yerks in Peregrine Falcon Morph. They to get away, they like land on the train, they ride on the roof of the train, they go down into the tunnels, and then they morph and have a fight. Axe cuts the lights, and Rachel turns into an owl to start fighting them. David turns into David. Uh,
He's
well, you
back!
know who
He's
turns into a
back!
lion? It's David. No, James turns into a lion, and they start like murdering all the Yerks, especially Rachel is like murdering the birds as an owl. She's like picking them off, and also like the Hork-Bajir.
Mhm.
In the middle of it, one of the birds begs Axe to spare his life, saying that he's going to be trapped as a bird in 5 minutes, and then he'll be free. He's like, in 5 minutes I'll be a bird and I won't be any harm, so just let me go, and then I won't have to be a Yerk anymore. So Axe lets him go, but then Rachel immediately just fucking kills him anyway, because she's like that.
That's our girl.
After a bunch of fighting, Axe and James are like, yeah, okay, Rachel, I think we should go, even though Rachel's like, no, come on, we gotta keep fighting and killing. Anyway, she goes to scout ahead and is like, if I'm not back in half an hour, leave without me. And it turns out okay, but she's kind of being a little bit psychopathic here. Okay. This
There's
is the
a
first,
lot
like, what, 6 chapters or something?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot here
Yeah,
to go over.
that's fair.
Where to begin? I mean, like in terms of the sort of plot, big picture development,
Mhm.
we see now that Yerks are loading innocent strangers onto trains to just to infest them en masse.
Yes. That is what they're doing. They
And
have
they've
yeah.
No.
I mean,
No, please.
this does imply also some level of control over the town.
Yeah.
Kind of reminiscent of some
Go
of the
Go on.
scenes in Body Snatchers.
Oh,
right?
okay. Sure. Oh, right. Yeah.
Where they just kind of like have the police and they're passing out pods to all the people. Here they've got enough people that they can just like go through the the streets and herd them onto the trains. They do. I think probably what you were thinking is that Rachel explicitly brings up Holocaust imagery.
Well, not explicitly.
Okay, it's as explicit as they thought they could do, I think. And like,
I mean, they
there's
literally
no way
went to
you
the
read this
Holocaust.
and don't think that that's what she's
met Hitler. Yes, no, but she says it's like something from a World War II newsreel.
Yeah, I mean, how much more explicit do you want?
Yeah. It is definitely. I mean, and I don't say this to say, oh, it's insensitive, haha, or anything like that. But it is uncomfortable immediately. I think intentionally so, to good effect. Just the imagery of loading people onto trains is like, whoa, whoa, yikes! We are, whoo, that's oh boy.
Yeah, there they all go.
I don't love that. They all go. Choo choo, all aboard. Chugga. Okay, so that's our big. That's like a big thing. That's. I don't even know if this book. Again, I feel like this is something I will have said before and will probably say lots of times in these final episodes. Is that things that I kind of wish had been developed and we had more time to do in earlier books, but just the concept of this level of military control by the Yerks of the town, that feels like that's something you could explore for several books. That's just kind of, it's happening right now. We're going to deal with it here.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the rapid escalation of the pace at this point, but there is something lost when we have to spend all of our time doing character stuff and trying to get like this book's plot. We don't you are right. Something is lost in the like feel of the scene when it's just like, oh, that's the plot for this week. You know what I mean? Like we're not
Yeah.
walking through the city being like, oh, geez, they're like round. Like maybe we could have used a scene where the Animorphs just like morph some other humans and walk around in town to see what's up, and they're like, oh shit, it's like they're actually like out and about doing stuff.
Yeah.
As opposed to
Totally.
just up, gotta stop the trains now. That's
Yeah, and it's the same
you
thing
know.
with the last few books, like the Governor book and the. I mean, this one was bad, but the airship, not airship, the naval
Mhm,
ship or whatever, um, which was like, oh, this is like a big deal, but it feels self-contained. I mean, it does
mhm,
have ramifications that carry over, and it is escalating, so it's not like it doesn't feel
mhm,
totally unimportant or anything, but it's just kind of weird that it's introduced for the first time right here and it
mhm.
hasn't it feels like it should have been built up a little more.
Yeah, and in some ways you've kind of jumped to like one of the ending things that I was going to say about this book because like I
Mm.
hadn't really considered that with the like imagery of herding people around, but it does apply there. Here it's just kind of like yeah, it's still here, you can still imagine it. It hurts it, but it's not terrible. But I do think that when we get to some of the like more central themes of this particular book, there are some places where I don't feel the emotional impact that I think I am supposed to for exactly that same reason, right? It kind of feels like, okay, and that's the end of that self contained plot, even though it's not, and it
Mm.
has this larger implication, like maybe just because not enough time is spent in it.
Definitely curious and interested to get to those sections.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Well, here's another big picture thing to kind of set the
Hmm.
stage for this whole book. This is, as you said, our last Axe book.
Yes.
Pretty important book for Axe as well. It's not like our last Marco book, which was just like, I don't know, what's Marco even doing anymore? He got his mom back, so who gives a shit?
Hmm.
Axe actually has stuff he's going through in this book.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, we'll get to more of it because there's a lot of things he goes through, and I don't know that all of it necessarily works for me 100%.
I
Uh,
kind of have a thesis about that a little bit, but we'll get to
okay.
it.
Well, like right off the bat, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit in this scene,
Sure,
but
yeah, go ahead.
right off the bat, when we have him, he's kind of not happy with James because he feels like he's outranked by James and like he doesn't have authority over him or Rachel because Rachel doesn't
Mhm.
listen to anybody but Jake. And
Mhm.
so he has his uh bias, his prejudice against disabled
Yeah.
people who
Which
he does say
yeah.
handicapped, so that's nice, I
Yeah,
guess,
I got to say I
for
don't
the time.
know how that's like in this book it almost feels like they kind of pay lip service to the idea that he had that. It almost feels like the author was not comfortable writing from like Kimberly Morris was not comfortable writing from Axe's perspective as she wrote him in book 50 is how it feels to me. Like in that book he's so much more like
Mhm.
nasty about it, and in this book he's like, well, I don't really agree, but I have come to like to realize that maybe Andalites aren't perfect. And anyway, that's the last we'll talk about that.
Right, because in that book he was just a guy, but now we have to live in his head.
Yeah, like
You have to root
it's
for him. You have to like him.
yeah, you can't sit here and be like, we're in his head, so you should be reading like a pages long screed about how James is not fit to fight or something because at one point he used to be handicapped, and then you're supposed to root for him still. So
Now, I do back Axe a little bit here, because he should have authority over James.
hmm.
Like, why is he should be higher up in the rankings.
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like James isn't he a little annoying in this scene?
Yeah, I mean I do like the dynamics here because those dynamics flow fairly well, right? This idea that like Rachel is just out of control and isn't but has sort of been put in charge, I guess, because Axe never takes charge of anything. Axe is always like,
True.
I need a prince. So Rachel's just out of control. And meanwhile, James is over here, like, on the one hand, he's got, you know what I mean? Like, he's got his own group, but his group isn't here. So he's kind of doesn't have seniority, but that's not clear. And also, he doesn't have experience. So when Rachel says, let's do something stupid, and Axe says, I think that sounds stupid, James goes, I don't know, I kind of like it, because he doesn't know
Yeah.
better yet. And like by the
Yeah.
end of the scene, he's kind of turned around, like, no, I think Axe is right, actually, Rachel. What are we doing? But
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. James also really fucks up by morphing a bird of prey, and that they also morphed. Like
mhm.
Axe goes through after we just had the duck book.
It's like
Axe,
paragraph 3.
yes, immediately he gives the spiel about birds of prey not flying together, but that he like throws James under the bus because it's like,
Mhm.
oh, he's new, so he didn't know. But why aren't you just all ducks? Or also, I don't know. I just don't know what to do with this. Like, why are we even talking about it anymore? Can we just put it to bed? Who cares?
Yeah, I don't know. You could. I think they're if they had done something more with Axe being a bigot, then you could read a little bit into it and be like, maybe Axe is being unfair, and maybe he is trying
Yeah.
to pin stuff on. But like, they don't really do anything with that again because I think it's too uncomfortable. But
Well, here's my first big issue with Axe in this book,
hmm
which again, when we get to the next section, it's like I feel like there's like a complete 180
hmm
that occurs later. But right here, he sees this Yerk in a head, and the Yerk is like, "Please, 5 more minutes, I'll be a Nothlet, I'll be
hmm
free." And Axe is like, "Okay, good, okay, I'll do it. Be free." Oh shit, Rachel's a psychopath. Oh well, that's Rachel for you. Um, Axe has never shown compassion for
yeah.
any Yerk ever before whatsoever.
Yeah, Axe
Where
is the second least likely of all the Animorphs to spare that Yerk.
maybe even the first. I mean, he like
I guess
Andalites
that's
just
true. Sometimes
hate
Rachel does
Yerks.
think.
Yeah, right. Like
Yeah.
this is the guy who if you like say the word Yerk, he like his tail blade raises up and he's like,
Yeah.
"Where? Let me at him." It's what did I miss this character development? It's bizarre.
Yeah, that is true. Like the scene, I really like the scene. It works and it's powerful, but it is true. It doesn't really work with Axe. And yeah, I mean, maybe it could have worked with Axe at a different point in the story, like later on, after some things get talked about. But yeah, you make a good point here.
It's weird. I mean, clearly they're trying to illustrate how far gone Rachel is,
hmm
but they just picked the wrong
Yeah, and,
character.
and I mean they're also trying to introduce this idea of Yerk's like
Yeah.
um becoming Nothlets in order to defect. And I think this is an interesting idea. I think this is cool. But yeah, no, you're right. Axe is just
I
not. They're stuck on their main character every book thing.
This should have been a James book.
We needed a James book.
That would have made sense because James would have been like, "Oh, I'm sort of new and naive.
hmm
I trust these Yerks or something, or I believe him." And the other are like, "No, Yerks are shit."
hmm
I don't know. The idea of the Yerks escaping through Nothletism.
Okay.
I have more. I mean, it's another one of those Jonathan's annoying, nitpicky questions about bullshit that doesn't matter.
hmm
But like, all right, so this is. I feel like this is saying that if this occurred, they would not need Kandrona anymore. They would not be a
Yeah.
Yerk anymore.
Yes, that is what this is saying.
So then the Yerk is its body is in Z space. Does it?
Sure.
I guess.
I mean, Tobias's human form isn't going to waste away if he doesn't eat.
True. That's true. That's true. So, okay. So if the Ellimist came back and let a Yerk Nothlit demorph again, like he did with Tobias, if he turned into a Yerk, would he immediately be starving for Kandrona? This is back to the food thing.
Yeah, Ellimist can do it however he wants. He's the Ellimist.
I mean, that is true. But, I don't know how he did it for Tobias, for instance. But also we're not taking into account, it's like, oh, this beautiful idea, the Yerk can be free. There's still an innocent human slave that's also in there.
Now that's something you brought up last time that I said we might wait until this book to talk about. But yeah, that is a far more relevant point than that other bullshit you were talking about.
Yeah, I don't agree, but yes. Equally relevant, I would say.
No,
but
I 100% agree with you. I think that is a pretty big wrinkle here, and one that the characters should be thinking about and exploring more at this particular point. But we will see. I mean, we'll see a little bit of that explored as an idea later in the book, or at least something tangential to it. But yeah, I mean the idea that Yerks could be free or defect or independent of the Yerk Empire via the morphing technology is not without issues, right? Like it's not this pure easy idea, right? You do have to contend with things like, it's what if it's the host who can morph?
Yeah. Which
I mean,
here's
a fucking question for you that. How do let's say, okay, you give, and I'm pretty sure I asked this as a kid. Let's say you give a human human controller the ability to morph.
Yeah.
The Yerk slips out of the ear and goes in the Yerk pool. They put the human controller in a cage.
Yeah, exactly what I was about to bring up.
They turn into an ant.
Right.
Wait.
Yes.
Maybe they put him in David cubes.
That's what I'm like. There, you could come up with an answer like maybe they just have another Yerk immediately ready to go in their ear, so they're never without a Yerk in their head. But it does seem like that's creating a lot of logistical headaches for Yerks now. They really have to be careful about this.
I guess we already asked this question for Visser 3.
Well,
right?
We did.
I remember asking it on the podcast. Why doesn't he turn into an acid monster?
Oh yeah. Why Alaran, I mean. Yeah, why the fuck doesn't he? I still don't know.
Yeah, no, there's not really an answer to this.
Yeah, that's there's nothing. I was like, oh, you could chain his head down like with what we saw with Ava, but yeah, he can morph. There's no answer. Even a Hork-Bajir is already a Hork-Bajir that could start like fighting and blading bitches. But I guess
at least with that one, there might be like 5 other Hork-Bajir that put him in a cage and then they can't get out.
Right. And they're kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions here that seem like they could be answered, but they aren't.
Maybe they mostly give the morphing tech to Hork-Bajir controllers so that the host is too stupid to know how to do it.
I guess. They also don't give it seemingly to Hork-Bajirs. It seems like only humans. Because in this scene, a human morphs into a Hork-Bajir. And I'm like, maybe cut out the middleman. Well, I don't know if
something. I just remembered a Hork-Bajir demorphing or something.
I'm pretty sure they say that the controller, like one of the birds, demorphs and then morphs into a Hork-Bajir.
That's pretty cool. I didn't notice that.
Why not just let a Hork-Bajir morph? Why do you need the human?
Because there's more humans. They don't even. The real question is, why do you need the Hork-Bajir anymore? You got so many humans running around.
Yeah, I guess that's true because you could just be one. I don't know. Well, if you're in battle though, Hork-Bajir is still pretty good, and then you don't have to worry about demorphing.
That's true.
They're useful for that. Also, they are easier to control, right? Because humans are always like bitching at you in your brain, but the Hork-Bajirs are probably kind of just like, me like do what Yerks say.
Getting a little bit too racist for me.
Oh, sorry. Tone it down a little less racist.
Maybe just a little less. A little less.
Oh, mamma mia, this is Yerk. I wish he would go to Italy, my motherland, where I can have a Sicilian pizza.
Yeah, there you go. That's better.
That's the level of racism we like. And this is the kind of thing that it would be fun to explore too. It's not even necessarily a plot hole or something, but it would be like, this is an issue that Yerks would have to deal with. And I mean, we don't get their perspective because that's not how these books work, but it could be kind of fun to, I don't know, give us an Eric book. Let him be our inside man. I want to know how they're dealing with this. I mean, as we'll find out, the morphing thing doesn't happen maybe for long enough for them to really need to worry about it. Like, shit happens that it's not their biggest priority anymore by the end of this book. But
yeah, no, I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Yeah, let's see here. Some more stuff about how Rachel is just like a complete. Rachel is like straight up back to book 37 Rachel here.
Yeah. Which also, even, I mean, at the end of the last David book, wasn't that supposed to be once again some kind of closure or lesson for her? And
yeah,
nope.
Again, written by the same lady here.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like, she wrote that one.
Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating. It the same complaints apply, where it does feel like if you read this book and you hadn't read the previous ones for some reason, you'd be like, oh, it is logical that at this point in the series, this is the state that Rachel would be in. But when you're actually reading them in order, it doesn't earn that.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like there's something with the like production schedule of these books, coupled with Kay Applegate's outlines that kind of maybe made some of that cohesion difficult. I have something that comes up in this section and will be relevant throughout the book for you. So there is an Animorph referred to here, one of the auxiliary Animorphs, one of the disabled kids, named Tuan.
And I don't think, was he mentioned before?
So the answer to that question is
is
that this was an editorial mix-up. Tuan is Timmy. And he was originally named Tuan, and then at some point the editors changed his name to Timmy, but for some reason, like, the memo only got through for the first one of these two and not the second. So in book 50 he's referred to as Timmy, and in this book he's referred to as Tuan.
How in the world do you fuck that up? You have a whole there's a period of time in between books. Like, and it's
the weird thing is that the later book seems to have the original. So I don't know what's going on in the, you know what I mean, in the production of these things.
Are we going back to Timmy next book?
To me, he'll always be Timmy.
I really was like, oh, this is a new guy. That's weird.
Yeah,
why is he so prevalent?
Why is he also morphing into a bobcat?
That I didn't notice or remember, but
that's because you didn't.
Well, they also didn't have any.
About, like, why the hell would you turn into a bobcat? It's right. Like the worst combat morph. Anyway,
they don't talk about also any of Timmy's established traits about his love of musical theater or whatever. Like, none of that. None of the, once again, the auxiliary Animorphs are completely sidelined, with the exception of James, who gets the bare minimum.
Yeah, like, at least they are here this time throughout this book. But yes, they don't do anything beyond just doing things, right? Like, they don't get to express. They have no lines, even. I think there's one or two, but they're all like, "Yeah, I got you," type of thing, right. In the middle of a fight scene or whatever. It doesn't. Yeah, it is a real shame that they're not, and this is because this is also Kimberly Morris. Like, she wrote this book, so.
I mean, I have to assume it's, again, just there's not enough time. You don't have enough pages. We have other characters that are important. Well, maybe you shouldn't have introduced 17 new ones.
It is kind of an odd choice to do that, right? like only like 4, I guess 5 with James are like actually consistently mentioned, and we even know what they turn into. Why did we spend more chapters going and getting more? Anyway, that's beside the
Oh,
point
we
because we're
do we
already.
do
But
hear
like,
about
yeah.
what's her name in a bit. The little girl from the blind school.
Oh god. Now, funny story about that. I am not 100% sure we mentioned her on the podcast.
No, we
She
did for sure. We did.
okay, because I do know that I didn't bother to put her in my notes. Like she
Well,
wasn't in my summary.
no, I'm pretty sure we mentioned her. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. Yeah. I don't know if we said her name or anything, but
I
I think it
don't
came
think we
up.
got her name till now.
Oh, maybe
Uh,
not. Yeah.
Now, you should, though, be thinking about Tuon and thinking about that name. You getting any?
Juan and Terry.
Yeah,
It's
that's
they
what happens when
they
you
did the
cross Juan
fusion.
and Terry.
They did the fusion dance.
They did the fusion dance.
Okay, cool. I'm pro Tuon now.
Yeah, well, I can be pro Timmy and you can be pro Tuon, and then it won't be confusing anymore because we'll be fighting about it all the time.
Imagine if he morphed a bird of prey and he was Hawk Tuon. All right. Will that mean anything to anyone in a year's time? I don't know.
Is that the first one of those we've done?
No, I did
Okay,
one with
okay.
KA on one of our KA episodes.
Okay, okay. Because I was,
Yeah.
thinking the other day, I can't believe we haven't done one of those yet. I can't
Yeah.
believe that
I don't actually like
we've
that meme.
resisted the temptation.
I find it very
But I guess we did.
unpleasant. Here's a few other notes. Let's see.
Hmm.
Well, this is a big one, which I think you've alluded to before, but in this section we have our official confirmation here now that they are high school age. They are
Yes.
old enough to be in high school. He doesn't say they've just entered high school.
Hmm.
So I'm assuming though that is kind of what it means, that they would be what, 14, 15, I guess 15 maybe is usually freshman age.
Yeah, I do think we're gonna get it confirmed that they're 16 at the end, and since these books at this point are all back to back, I think they're 16 now, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, I would hope. It'd be weird if there's a year between this and the next two
Yeah,
books.
right.
But I don't know. Maybe something happens. But that's kind of exciting. I mean, I think the bird warfare scene, it worked in the last book. It still
Mhm.
works here. Like, I think they were like, well, that was fun. Let's just do it again.
Yeah, I mean the bird fight scenes work a lot better because as you had said earlier, why the hell are you turning into a polar bear when you have a gun? Whereas the bird, it's like, well, we're scouting up in the skies. We saw some other birds, so we engaged, and then now we're zipping
Yeah.
around through the tunnels. I can't chase after you through these train tunnels with a gun, so at least
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And the train is an exciting setting
Yeah.
for a fight. So all that stuff works pretty well as far as Animorphs action is concerned.
Yeah,
I don't
this
know.
is a good scene, I think.
Yeah, overall it's a good scene. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but the Yerks also are communicating in thought speech, but they're projecting it to everyone. So they're like, let's get him, but like Axe hears that too. So I don't know if that's supposed to be that, oh, the Yerks aren't used to thought speech. So that's kind of a fun detail.
Yeah, I mean, the
Or if they're
problem
just
is
lazy.
that they learned thought speech from, I guess, Elfangor, who taught them, whereas the Yerks don't know anything. They got to learn from Visser 3, and Visser 3 doesn't ever say anything privately.
Yeah, it's Visser 1, actually.
Oh, right, you're right. It is Visser 1.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they haven't learned that lesson, but that's kind of fun. All right.
One thing here, actually, normally I would bring this up early, but I kind of let you go for a while. There is
I never
so
shut up.
much fucking exposition in
Yeah.
this book.
I mean, I didn't say it only because, we've said it before, but yes, we have reached a point where it is truly insane to imagine someone trying to understand
Yeah.
this for the first time.
Yeah, we are so close to the ending that you don't need it, and there's so much of it that you just can't, like, it's still going in like chapter 8.
Axe even says here, he's like, hold on, I'm not explaining myself well. Let me start from the beginning. Yeah, it's a lot. It's unwieldy. Hey, whoa, Jesus. I like that he refers to Taxon's bodies. He says they're like a massive sack of guts.
That doesn't sound like something you would like, but I suppose.
It's a fun turn of phrase, a massive sack of guts.
Did you
He also
like the... Yeah?
no. He also says it's difficult sometimes not to pity them. Is that what you were going to bring up?
No, I was going to ask if you liked the sentence, trains are a good way of transporting a lot of people at the same time.
That is, I did not really pick up on it, but it is along the same lines as ladders lead to places you are not.
It's nowhere near as good as that, but it is kind of in that, money can
Yeah,
be exchanged for goods and services or whatever.
sure. Yeah, I guess it's not quite a tautology, but just an obvious statement.
Uh,
Yeah, you know.
I guess my notes also have some like rant in here. I think I was tired when I wrote these. I have some kind of rant about the Yerk peace movement and whatever.
Well,
This is
I
not
mean,
worth getting into.
we'll have time for that can still happen later.
Okay.
What about I don't know if this is true. Axe says that owl feathers are the softest feathers imaginable.
I don't
Is
know.
that
I can
true?
imagine quite a bit.
Yeah, I can imagine a very soft feather. I don't think that's true. Also, um he says that Rachel would be shunned on the Andalite homeworld for how crazy she is.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Not the most fucked up thing he'll suggest about what would happen to an Animorph on his home planet. This book.
That's true. Yes. I mean, to be fair, maybe Rachel should be shunned.
Yeah, I mean, yes, they don't really have a
She's
choice, but
a bit of a psychopath.
well, they need her.
They do need her. She's
You need a
important.
psychopath.
All right. Are we? Do we want to
Yeah,
go?
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So they're back. They're back at camp at the Hork-Bajir Valley camp thing. They're discussing the trains. They got back okay, even though Rachel did her whatever. Um. So they're talking about what they've seen here. It seems like the Yerks are like bringing a lot more Yerks here. They're sort of consolidating themselves because of this glut of new hosts. And Marco suggests that they bomb the pool, and they sort of decide to do it. They haven't solidified on it yet. There's going to be a lot of scenes of them talking about it, stretching multiple days, but they do start a plan at this point. They start talking about raiding a nearby National Guard base to steal explosives, and then they can pack a train full of them and blow it up. But then, late that night, that same night, Axe sneaks out of the camp in Raccoon Morph. And he's got the Z Space transponder in his mouth, just like on the cover. And once he's far enough away, he secretly contacts the Andalite fleet and talks to War Prince Jaham Estelan Forlan, who we find out Axe has been communicating with. Like, this is not his first communication. He's been secretly talking to the Andalite fleet here. Axe reports that there are tensions in the group, things are breaking down, blah, blah, blah. You remember all that, Cassie and Jake and Rachel going crazy and blah, blah, blah. Jaham does not believe that there is, like, any real hope for the Animorphs to succeed or win on Earth, even if they do succeed in blowing up the pool here. And it is revealed that the Andalite plan currently is to let all of the Yerks concentrate on planet Earth and then, quote unquote, quarantine them here, which they both Axe and Jaham kind of understand that quarantine kind of means genocide them here after they all get here. And so Jaham orders Axe to not let the Animorphs blow up the Yerk pool in order to make sure that the Yerks keep, like, consolidating all of their forces here in this one location. Okay.
This is a lot.
It's a lot.
This is a revelation right here. we gotta hold on all that axe stuff. I think just for a minute.
Yeah. I would have liked to do the like meetings together, but they break up over multiple days, and you always get so mad when I don't do things in the order they appear in the
Well,
book.
correct. Right. That would be wrong.
I don't know about that.
It would be
It's
wrong. Fine. No, it's not fine. But we'll deal with this initial meeting. I mean, you could have made those two separate scenes. It's fine. It's fine.
I could have, but then they would have been like one chapter each. I just didn't know.
It's fine. This shit's gone off the rails.
It really has.
Marco is crazy for suggesting it. Rachel is crazy for being very into it. I'm asking the whole scene. I'm just going, where are the adults right now? Maybe they're there. They just don't have lines. And they're just like, yeah, what if we just bomb the shit out of them? I'm like, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I do buy it from them, but I don't necessarily buy the emotion of observing it. Right? Like, I get that Marco is kind of just at this point where he's like, listen, I got mine. I got my mom. I got my dad. I fucked up Nora to get that. I'll fuck up everybody else to keep it. I don't give a shit. And it makes sense that Rachel is pretty far gone at this point. And it also kind of makes sense that Jake he's not operating the way he used to, right? He's a lot more like cold now than he was, a lot less empathetic. It does seem like, and yes, Cassie isn't okay with it exactly, but it does feel like there isn't the kind of weight put on it that there should be, you know? Like, yeah. I mean, you do know, you're basically talking about how crazy it is.
Yeah. It really feels like we've taken a step off the deep end without fully appreciating how deep the end is.
Yeah, at this point, we're talking about blowing up half the downtown area. This is going to be killing thousands of innocent civilians.
I also like how Axe recaps how he tried to do this, maybe.
Yeah.
And basically he goes through the whole summary of that scene from that book to just say, now we're doing the exact same thing again.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yes.
Remember how I did that?
A couple of same things going on here.
Yeah. Which is kind of like, so it's why didn't we just maybe that just shouldn't have happened, or maybe you should have done it. I don't know.
It makes that book so irrelevant that this is happening now.
Yeah, it's a little bit strange. Was that an Axe book? It was. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Rachel's just fucking crazy. Here's the thing that actually made me mad in this scene, though. I mean, the fact that the bombs are crazy, it's crazy, but it's not unreasonable for the storytelling, I don't think, necessarily. It's not too crazy. What pisses me off is they're like, hey, what about, Colonel what's his name and the governor and all those troops and all that? They were probably taken by Yerk, so we can't use them. What? They were probably... Are you going to check? Do you know? Are you not in contact with the governor? What was the point of the entire last book that we read? We went through this whole saga to get the governor and her troops, and immediately now they go, what is it? A day later? 2 days later? It can't be that much later. The Yerks probably got him. Oh, well. Plan B. What?
It really does feel like, especially the way in which, we've got the auxiliary Animorphs, and they're not very written in this book, but they are present. And then in the last book, they're just mentioned as existing, and that's it. And then in the last book, we set up the governor and Larson and blah, 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 blah. And then in this book, it's like, no. It does feel like Harkrader and Morris are just kind of operating independently and talking to Kay Applegate, who is doing a terrible job coordinating them. And so they're just being like, okay, I guess I heard about what happened in the other book. Write a couple sentences to acknowledge that I know about it. Okay, cool, move on.
Yeah. I mean, there's a little more lip service later about the governor giving a speech or whatever.
And I like that stuff later because
Yeah.
it's more like fleshed out. But yeah, here it's just kind of like maybe you should have heard that later stuff before.
It's just so it's insulting.
Mm-hmm.
It's the word probably that just pisses me off. You don't even know? At least if you're going to write them out of the story, commit to it and give us a reason. Don't just make it like, we don't feel like checking on them.
I thought maybe you were getting mad about how, like, the Chi wouldn't help them steal bombs because that's too violent. When you said what really pisses you off, that's where I thought you were going.
The Chi, forget stealing bombs. They won't even tell you what the Yeerks said in their last sharing meeting. They've been useless for 20 books now. Fuck them.
I mean, if they'd always been like that, honestly, I like that a lot. Like, I do like the idea of the Chi trying to help them, but doing it non-violently, but then having all kinds of problems because they can't fucking help them because the Animorphs are violent. I like that. I think that's good. But yeah, it was not consistent up front, and so it still is a little bit weird.
Yeah, there's just no explanation. It's just, yeah, they suck now. Because otherwise they would solve the problem, is why.
Well, I think Chi Lan might have gotten to Eric.
Chi Lan, huh?
I think that was...
I don't remember who that is.
In the very first Chi book, there was some Chi who was all like, I don't like that Eric's helping you. I think he's wrong to do it. Like, he shouldn't even be giving you information. Or whatever. Okay.
But that's enough. I mean, that's the nitpicking. We'll get more of the character kind of arguments and interactions with the next meeting scene. Mm-hmm. But obviously the big... I mean, I think the biggest bombshell of this entire book is this revelation, parentheses, that Axe has been secretly communicating with the Andalite homeworld for I don't know how long.
Yeah, we don't know how long.
If
I had to guess, I would say since shortly after the diversion, right? I would say since shortly after he starts questioning, like, oh shit, Jake's leadership seems to be breaking down. Oh, we brought in all these vehicles. I don't know that I trust or like the situation. I need to contact them. That would be my guess. Yeah. But it's not explored or explained in those books or this one.
It's probably not earlier than his last book, right? Because he otherwise he would have mentioned it then.
Yeah.
So presumably it's been not more than a few months, but it's definitely several weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, using our rough understanding of the timeline here. Mm-hmm. This is like a big deal.
Yeah.
That really feels like, again, my most used word on this podcast is again, but I really could have used him having been doing this for multiple books now. It feels like this was something you should set up and have in and that would be a reveal in itself. And you're like, whoa. And then multiple books, you're thinking, wow, who knows what Axe is up to? And then it all comes to a head here instead of just doing all of that in one book.
Yeah. And it's one of those things because they basically did this in book 38 too, except they resolved that character arc in book 38, which, by the way, Kimberly Morris also wrote. Right, like that was the book in which, Axe is all like, oh, the Animorphs we've got this new group of Andalites here, and the Animorphs, there's all this tension and they're breaking up, and maybe I should go join, be loyal to the Andalites instead. Psych, I was loyal to the humans all along. This is the conclusion of me siding with the Animorphs over my people. Also, this is a story about how the Andalites actually just want to genocide Earth, and that's bad, and Axe has decided to stop that because he's fully on the side of humans. It's literally this. Except it's like the conclusion where we reveal that Axe has like come to a, you know what I mean? Like he's concluded that.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of just doing that, and And this is the
Yeah.
same book where we're also
Yeah.
redoing the Axe plot from book 46. And yeah, I mean, my earlier thesis on what they're doing with Axe here is that they don't know what to do with this character arc, so they're just redoing all of his character moments.
Well, it's the exact same thing as Rachel, right?
Hmm.
That's yeah, we already solved this, but I mean, that's her thing. So, I guess we didn't. It's happening. Yeah, I didn't think about
Yeah.
how similar it was to what we've already covered.
Yeah, I mean, at least with Rachel, if you reordered it, you can see it as like a building. It's building up to this point. But in this book,
Yeah.
Axe has to like come to a revelation that he came to over 10 books ago.
Duh. And you could also have done what you said, which you can assume, you can fill in the blanks, but
Hmm.
you could have had a thing where Axe reverts and goes, "I guess I was wrong because of Jake's
Yeah,
actions. I do need the Andalites. This is desperate times."
yeah.
But they don't. He doesn't even justify why he's doing this to us. He's just like, "Yeah, I'm doing this."
Yeah, it's very strange because as much as he talks about like tension between the Animorphs and having all these issues or whatever, I don't he doesn't really seem to be coming in here with this idea of like I have a problem very specifically with Jake, right? Which seems like it's where you would need to be because like the whole thing is that he has this loyalty to Jake. Um and that's like, that's his prince. That's who he always follows. If he were going to revert and start contacting the Andalites again, the only way that's going to happen is if he is like there's some big rift between him and Jake, but I don't feel any rift between him and Jake in particular in this book. And that is kind of a shame because again, we could be there's been success in the past with like talking about Jake's, end of series progression through other characters. Great opportunity to do that with Axe. And I don't know, it's just it feels like this plot was thrown in here because we need Axe to have a final plot, and that was what the remember when you wrote that book way back when, and it was a good one. You should write that again.
Not only are the ghostwriters not in communication with each other, they're also not in communication with themselves.
Just put out another one, whatever. It's fine.
Remember when Axe was funny and he watched TV? He doesn't. No references to the Young and the Restless in this one.
Yeah.
He's a very serious, almost like hostile character in this book.
Hmm.
I mean,
Well,
not yeah, just
she
full
just
on.
wrote him as a bigot, so now she's got to think of him as he can't be fun after I said that about him.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest with you, I had kind of it's so much stuff has been happening the last few books that the idea of the Andalite fleet coming to help them, I didn't even remember. Like that wasn't even in my head. I was like, oh yeah, wasn't this the whole fucking thing?
Yeah.
Are the
I mean, that is
Andalites?
a problem. They do need some kind of hook to get you into the idea that, like, yeah, that was the whole fucking thing. We need to bring that back in, don't we? So they did need a hook for that.
And I'm like, wait, so where's the fleet? Like in Z space, wasn't the thing first? It was that Z space made it too far away. Then it was that they just didn't really care about Earth. Right? Was kind of the next part.
Yeah,
Or,
the next part was that they were like, I think that other planet is more important than Earth, and then they went over there, but it was
right.
a diversion.
The diversion. And then I'm also thinking the idea of they're just gonna blow up Earth essentially. Right?
Now, I do actually kind of like that, um, and just because of the way it's presented here, um, because I really do enjoy the way it's written. That all of the talk is about this idea of quarantine. They're not going to blow up the Earth. They wouldn't do that. No Andalite would even think to suggest it. No one would order it. No one would say it out loud on any channel. No. We're going to get the Yerks consolidated here, and then we'll enforce a quarantine. We'll just keep them here. It's fine. But, like, everybody knows it's not fine. Everybody knows that the Yerks won't be able to be quarantined here. The only way to enforce a quarantine is going to be with force, and that force is going to end in genocide. And everybody knows it, but you don't say it. You say it's a quarantine. And then, they attacked, so we just had to do it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think there's a truth to that. I think that's a good, well written, well designed little idea, and I do like it.
I agree with you. My main concerns come with just the fact that it's introduced so suddenly, that idea. Which, I mean, I guess it's fine, but I would have liked a little more. I mean, I guess the annoying part of my brain is simply wondering, has this been on the table the whole time? Like, I don't know that I realized the Andalites had the firepower to blow up a world necessarily. Or why didn't they do this with the Hork-Bajir homeworld? Or why didn't they do this with the Yeerk homeworld? Why aren't they just bombing every planet with Yeerks on it if that's their MO? But I mean, again, this is our window into the Andalite homeworld military is minuscule. Like, we just don't have the answers to these questions because they don't give you any substance from it. But yeah, but I agree. It's a good device. It's a good concept to introduce. I have questions about it, but what don't I have questions about?
and this idea that it is one of those things that, like, this idea that the Andalites are, their plan here is to annihilate everybody, not come to save us, but to kill us along with the Yeerks. Like, that's a good idea to put at the conclusion of the series, and it's a good thing to foreshadow in the Hork-Bajir Chronicles. And the problem is that, like, the last time we looked at Andalites, I mean, I guess it was the gay Andalites who just had nothing to do with anything, and then the time immediately before that, it was some Andalites who came here to secretly genocide us. And then the last time we talked to Andalites was before the Hork-Bajir Chronicles, right? Like, we don't, there is, they are kind of only doing that idea. And as much as I love that idea, and I think it's great, we maybe could have had some more progression with it.
I need the Krypton. Did they even ever make that show? I just make a reference to a show that didn't even get made. I don't even know. There's going to be like there's a Superman show, I think, where it was like before Krypton got blown up. So it's just about how is that relevant? I don't even know what the fuck my brain is making me say anymore. What I'm trying to say is,
I'm assuming you're taking it somewhere.
I would like a side series that's showing us just the Andalite homeworld. Give me some random schmo who works in a military base and he has a wife and kids, and you just kind of see his day-to-day drama amidst also part of it is like, what's going on with the Yeerks and where's the fleet? And then he's also got to deal with his daughter failed the Andalite morphing test in school. I want that. Give me that sci-fi alien immersed shit. And that would help flesh out what's going on over there. I mean, obviously we don't have that. So what can you do?
I mean, there should be some, if you're not going to do a thing where Axe is reverting on Jake, or if you're just going to do the retelling of this, like, maybe you need to have the Andalite fleet get in contact with Jake and be in regular contact with Jake, but then be trying to hide this idea behind his back to Aximili, what I mean?
Yeah, well,
right? Like, they want to contact, I don't know.
Shouldn't they be, at this point, has he tried to contact them again? Like, why isn't this coming up in their meetings? I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah, for it being like a thing that has been in the background, and as a kid you're thinking about it, they don't mention it that much.
I guess they've fully just, the Animorphs have said they're not coming to help us. We have to move on. I guess maybe that was kind of established, but it's just been so long.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, here's the other issue is that this whole conundrum here is just kind of here to remind you that the Andalite fleet exists and give Axe like a little thematic character thing to go through. And you can tell because he doesn't, unless I'm forgetting something major, he doesn't talk to them again. Like, he has one chapter where he talks to them in this whole book. And then
Yeah.
the rest of it, he thinks about talking to them. He thinks about what he would say to them. But, like, it's like, okay, I had a, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be nice to come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice. It would make sense. I do like he has a lot of little musings at the end of chapters that
Yeah, there's a
aren't
lot of
bad.
musing in these chapters.
I mean, they're a little bit repetitive,
Mm-hmm.
but they're sort of well written. I like at the end of this one, he's thinking about the Yerk Falcon, and he says this phrase, 5 minutes away from freedom, which is a
Mm-hmm.
nice alliteration there. That's a nice turn of phrase.
That's true. Do Andalites have alliteration?
I don't know what Andalites have. We can. I think this might be the next section, or maybe this is. Oh no, I think it's a lot later. I think it's the end of the book, but I don't, or something. I don't care. I'll say it now. But there's a part where he refers to what humans call eavesdropping. But what do Andalites call you? Every word that you say to us is in English. You don't say what humans call like your arm. So why does eavesdropping have a different word than every other word that your thought speak just translates? None of it makes sense.
Now, one of his little word things that I liked here is he's talking about, you know, all the little woodland creatures, because he's saying we have to watch
Mm-hmm.
for Yerk spies now, just like the Yerks used to have to watch for us. So that's why I have this raccoon, is so that we have lots of native species, because it's just impossible to keep track of. And then he says every waddling woodchuck or slithering snake.
That's pretty good.
I do like that. Those to me sound like maybe like kindergarten or preschool class names, the waddling woodchucks and the slithering snakes, you know?
Or maybe that's Legends of the Hidden Temple teams.
'Cause I was just thinking, like, when I was in preschool, they like divided it up, and like every, like, I don't know, small bit of the class or whatever it was was named after a different sense. So like I was in the Sleepy Peepers, and I think our sister group was the Super Sniffers. And it just feels like there could be waddling woodchucks
Wait,
in
it was
there.
named after different scents?
Senses, like
Oh,
eyes,
senses. Oh,
nose,
okay.
ears. Those are the parts, not the senses, but you get the.
Got it. That's cool. Was there one for seeing dead people?
No, there weren't enough classes for that, or groups, or
Damn.
whatever they were. I don't remember. I went to a weird
Cool.
preschool.
Yeah, that's a really cool story everyone liked.
I liked it.
I have a theory about why a raccoon is Axe's favorite morph.
Ooh, what's your theory?
He's eating out of that Cinnabon dumpster.
Yeah.
That's what he's
Yeah.
doing. Those raccoons, they know how to get in there and eat.
That's what he's doing.
We can move on, I think.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, also just say this, sorry. One other thing. He at the end of this, he's like, "Oh, the bug fighters are starting to come. They've honed in on my location because of my transponder being detected. I gotta go." Great. So, however often he's been doing this, every time he risks bug fighters finding him. Like if they're that good at it, feels like
Well, he
they'd be able to
flew.
circulate their location.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just extremely risky.
Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah, it's not great.
Like what the fuck, Axe?
It's very
Okay.
out of place for him. All right, so next day, they're still planning out the bombing here. We're back to that. And Cassie's like, all right, you know what? I'm out. I've decided that I guess I thought about it, and I'm not going to do this. And all the other animals are like giving her shit, and she's like, no, like, what the fuck? This sucks. What's wrong with all of you? And Jake starts yelling at her about like deciding she knows what's best for everyone, and Cassie has a breakdown and reveals that she was the one who gave away the morphing cube. Um, there's a lot of tension at this point, but Jake surprisingly ends up being the one kind of like consoling her, and things seem a little bit better between them. So they kind of push forward and, they're like, okay, we are going to do the bombing plan, but we'll like give an advance warning to let them evacuate. And Cassie says that she'll go along with it because she doesn't even know anymore. She feels so guilty about doing her morality stuff. Um, Axe, on the other hand, is fucking pissed about this. So that night, Axe goes out to talk to Cassie alone, and about it, and he's like wondering, oh man, maybe High Command is right to want to kill all the humans if they're going to be given morphing technology to the Yeerks. Cassie says here that it wasn't just about like saving Jake and Tom. She thinks that there are probably a lot of Yeerks out there who want to defect or rebel, but they don't have any other option. And with the morphing technology freely available, it would give them kind of an out because they wouldn't necessarily be as dependent on Kandrona. And this could potentially, as opposed to fighting this war, which we'll probably lose, maybe there is some kind of peaceful coexisting solution. So that's her idea here. Axe spends some time musing on this and then runs into Tobias, who has been spying on Axe and knows that he is talking to the Andalites. After thinking everything through, Axe decides that he is going to go against his orders and just help the Animorphs blow up the Yeerk pool. Okay. I did a lot of stuff here, but honestly, there's a lot of like ideas and through lines between this that should be discussed kind of at once, I think.
Yeah. This makes sense. So here is where we see at the beginning of this book, Axe spared a Yeerk.
Mm-hmm.
And now he has gone from that to the next day. The idea of giving them morphing technology makes him so enraged, he instantly turns on the entire team.
Yeah. And honestly, that is the Axe that I know. The Axe is like, I am loyal to them forever. Wait, except Cassie gave them the Morph Cube on purpose? I hate her now. And wait, they're all just gonna let that slide and keep working with her? What the... Like, if Axe had decided to start contacting the fleet here, maybe that would make more sense or something.
Yeah, or I don't know...
maybe if after the conversation, Axe had decided to give the Yeerk a chance or something. But like, I think those out of character things would work better as a response to this, because I do like, he should be having this intense of an emotional reaction to this.
I'm not fully. I don't know if I fully am with it. Like, I kind of am, but he's known Cassie. They've been through a lot of stuff together. And he, like, on a dime goes, I hate her now. Like, he's not conflicted about it at all in the moment. He's just like, fuck her. He says if he were on the Andalite homeworld, she'd be executed.
Yeah, maybe he does go a little too far. And he definitely goes a little too far when he's like, maybe they should kill all the humans if they're going to be like this. That is farther than he should be going given his arc. But he should be having serious trouble coping with this.
Yeah. It's just a little, it's very intense. Like, he's so heated about it. I don't know. Maybe part of it is just whether or not it's appropriate for his character. It's just not very pleasant to endure. Like, we all want to like Axe. We all love him. He's our funny friend who loves cinnamon rolls. And in this book, he's just, oh my God, he's such a dick.
Yeah, it is pretty unrelenting. Like, I don't mind that he has unpleasant personality traits and can be like that. Because that's been consistent. But yes, it does feel like at some point between writing book 38 and writing this book, Kimberly Morris forgot that he is supposed to like the young and the restless. Like, where's the scene where he explains kissing to Jaham or whatever? And he says, War Prince Jaham, you should be wearing a jacket that shows your chest because you might not be that young, but you're still fairly young, and you are quite right. You get the idea.
I mean, this might be the only Axe book where he doesn't eat a cinnamon bun. I think there's one
It might
reference he
be.
makes to liking the food on Earth. I don't even know if he mentions cinnamon buns, but
it is weird because I do think he's really well characterized in 38, so we know Kimberly Morris can do it.
He's not just supposed to like TV. He's supposed to like the other Animorphs, and I don't feel that. This feels like, I think I said the same thing in, maybe it was the Suicide Squad book, that it feels like this should have been Axe's arc earlier, but now at this point, I believe he likes humans. Like, I would have thought before reading this book that he would choose Cassie over whatever else his ideology is. And it's fine to make that that could be his thing, but I don't think they've built that up correctly.
Yeah, I mean, part of the problem is that I feel like at this point we're trying to get these rifts and tensions between everyone in the group, and maybe just because we don't see enough of Axe, because with everybody else, when that tension is there, we've kind of seen it happen. Like, we've seen how Jake kind of got destroyed by losing his family and how that's affected his relationship with everyone. We've seen Cassie making the decision about Tom and how that's put this huge wedge between her and Jake. We've seen this growing tension between Rachel and Cassie going all the way back to book 19, where Rachel told her to go fuck herself because she effectively said she'd rather let the world die than become Rachel, right? These things have been ongoing, but with Axe, I mean, it feels like his arc has gone in the opposite direction, and I haven't really seen anything to show why he should be feeling so, split off. If anything, from what we have seen of him, he should be really upset that all of his friends are fighting now, and it doesn't feel like the old group.
Yeah. Something. A little bit of that, at least. Now, on the other hand, as you said, I think the Jake and Cassie stuff is done very well still. I think all of that has been good in the last few books. In this scene, I fully love Cassie, and I am not happy with any of the other characters.
Yeah.
Except for Tobias. Tobias is okay. He stands up for Cassie.
Yeah.
Which is that could also be an angle to focus on that they don't, because he goes against Rachel.
Yeah, I honestly love that bit, because all of that feels very real to me, that Rachel is so pissed off that she's about to fucking punch Cassie out. And Tobias grabs her arm and stops her. I think that's a great scene that all feels appropriate to where they are at this point.
And Jake, so she blows up and does this whole thing and it reveals her secret and everyone's mad, and then Jake embraces her. And I thought that was really, it was I didn't feel like it was predictable or it was kind of a surprising moment, and I thought it was a very effectively emotional. I thought it felt right without feeling like a foregone conclusion. It's maybe a little rushed. I could have done with a little more time for them to kind of patch things up, but in the moment I thought that was done really well. So I'm frustrated with how Axe and Rachel are being handled, but those parts are really good in this scene.
Yeah, I don't mind Rachel, because I feel like Rachel's primary issue is just that she's out of order, right? Her more reasonable parts should have been earlier, and so it should feel more reasonable that she's less reasonable now. To me, that feels right. But Axe is just this part is, I don't quite get what this part is. Like I said, it feels like they're just doing all of his arcs because they don't know what to do with him anymore.
And then meanwhile, Marco and Tobias are just we're still here too. We're helping out.
Yeah.
we're centered and good now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're centered, but I'm not sure they're good. Marco is centered on the hey, I got mine, no, do whatever, I don't give a shit anymore, fuck all y'all. And Tobias is centered on, I'm a bird, what of it?
Yeah, they're good. I'm happy for them. They know who they are.
They know who they are. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, this scene is a pretty vivid one in my memory because I said in the last couple of books that I, as a kid, did not like the tension between Jake and Cassie because it's
Mommy and daddy were fighting.
yeah, again, like you said, like Rachel and Tobias, they're the star-crossed lovers. Jake and Cassie are just a foregone conclusion, and seeing them fight was very upsetting to kid me. And having a scene where it's like, "Oh my god, finally." Right? Like they were
Mhm.
fighting and then it didn't get better next book, and then this book starts and it's still bad. Oh my god, like thank God you know what I mean, there's some reconciliation there. Like, I
Yeah.
remember that. It was a big deal for me as a kid.
As it
Sigh of
should be.
relief.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice resolution. I mean, we also don't really focus too much on Cassie and Rachel's relationship. There's a
Mhm,
lot made of Marco and Jake being best friends. Well, by a lot made I
mhm.
mean that they mention it. they they don't often say that Cassie and Rachel also are best friends. At least they
Yeah.
should be. They're
Cassie and
supposed.
Rachel having a lot of, like, bad and or nothing books has really hurt them because, like,
Yeah.
that is one of the most interesting things about them is them going from doing everything together to, again, Rachel getting pissed off because Cassie does not want to be her, to Rachel immediately starting to like worry about herself in book 22, and then a whole bunch of nothing books, and then we jump to the end where Rachel's just like cannot stand that Cassie would dare to question the idea that violence is always the answer.
Yeah,
And
it's
there's a lot in there that's interesting.
you can imagine that the reason they're good friends is because they have in each other the things that they lack,
Hmm.
and now but in the context of a war, those things are also exactly what drives them apart. It's a great dynamic that they.
Hmm.
I mean, when's the last time we even had like a significant scene with the two of them together? I
Yeah,
can't even think of it.
it is a shame.
It's weird. Anyway, it's what it is. Um, I never had really thought about this idea of the Yerks just not needing humans anymore now that they have morph cubes. And
Yes,
that's a
they
great
go into a lot of
idea.
depth on this here.
Yeah, that's like, well, why do they want hosts that are good? They could go to any planet. They could
Hmm.
acquire fucking armadillos. I mean, infest and just
Yeah.
give the armadillo a morph power. Like it doesn't matter, and they'll theoretically they should be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that when they first bring up that logic here, it quite works because the primary reason they want humans is because there's so fucking many of us. So if you're just
Yeah,
like, I don't really care what the morph is, we just need to all get people in bodies, then ideally you want to put them in the humans, and then all the humans can morph Hork-Bajir. Um, but later on, when Tobias starts talking about like, why do they even need hosts, right? If they
yeah.
can, right? Can't they just like couldn't they just like morph into humans or become human Nothlets and then they'd be humans and walk around as humans or whatever?
Yeah, right. Which I think said once on this show.
You probably did at some point, yeah.
like I think in the last episode, maybe not that specifically, but I was just like,
Hmm.
why don't they just give the Yerks themselves morphing power? Not thinking of them being happy, but more like
Hmm.
for ease of battle or something.
Right, right, right.
But
But like this is like what Cassie was saying. Like
yeah,
this is the answer, right? Like,
yeah, you could
uh,
almost imagine like Yerks wouldn't even the life cycle of a Yerk could be you're born, you morph into something else. Because being a Yerk just sucks. Like no one wants to be a Yerk.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's not like they don't have their cultures and their pools. And like in the Hork-Bajir Chronicles, we saw like in the early days, a lot of the like elder Yerks were scared of infesting. They just wanted to be in their
Mm,
pool. Like you can imagine a Yerk society where like you have your Yerk society in the pool where you feel comfy and at home. But then, instead of infesting to go do all the cool things that everybody else gets to do, you just get to morph to do it. Um,
yeah.
you
Or
can
maybe,
imagine
or
this.
there could be like a society where most Yerks do morph, but then there's a contingent that they're like, we prefer the old ways in our
Mhm.
pools. Like that could be cool.
Yeah, because like if you have a life cycle with the Yeerk where they morph into a human and then they stay as a human, then in one generation you just have humans.
That's true.
Right, you have an infusion of human culture in there.
Well, they probably want to really morph into not humans, but some planet of like Geds, I guess.
Yeah.
Just like something, you know.
Yeah, I mean, why would you even want to be a Nothlit? Why wouldn't you want to just be like, yeah, I'll keep my regular shitty body because that's mine, and then I'll be whatever. I'll be whatever else I want whenever I want.
I guess it's confusing. You also don't want like your entire species to be the same Ged.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some things you got to work out here, but it does feel like, wow, this is a full circle thing from Ciro's kindness, which Axe
Mm-hmm.
brings up. Of
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, maybe this is the answer that's been right in front of them the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why we've been so focused on just murdering them. We have this cube. We could have just been like, hey, here,
Yeah.
you're good.
And
So,
again, this would hit harder if we saw more with the Yerk resistance movement and had a better concept of who, like, the quote unquote good Yerks are. But I do
yes.
like Cassie has a quote here where she says,
Well,
"It's
yeah.
beginning to look as if we can't win by conquering. We may just have to learn to coexist." And I like, I don't know, I like that quote. I think that does a good job kind of encapsulating what's going on here.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Of course, I wish there was more Yerk resistance stuff generally,
Hmm.
but it almost in this instance makes for a more interesting argument from Cassie that her belief it is more of just like her faith in the goodness
Hmm.
of people. She doesn't know how many Yerk resistances there are, but she's like it's I don't know. There's a
Hmm.
stupid Bible story. I'm not going to say it, but it's like if there's one good Yerk,
Hmm.
you know, then
Yeah,
is it
yeah,
worth saving that one good Yerk?
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Book
know.
19, great book.
But yeah, all that is good. I like those ideas being introduced. It gets real. It gets pretty real in here. These
Hmm.
conversations.
Yeah, and I think that that is a pretty like powerful and not. I feel like so often when that is the message in kids media, it's not as authentic as that. You know what I mean? Like either it's like the bad guys are bad and you got to beat them, or like you defeat them with the power of love, and it's just kind of nothing. Like I do like this idea here of like, no, you. It's not just that you're empathetic. It's that you legitimately hand them the technology to destroy you and just hope that they'll do the right thing because I trust that, in like the inherent goodness of people. And maybe it'll be really bad. Maybe they will use that tech to destroy us at first, and it'll take a long time for a resistance movement. But like the end goal of coexistence will never come to pass unless somebody is willing to stick their neck out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there is a practical through line here you
Hmm.
could follow in
Yeah.
addition to lovey dovey.
Right. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. It's more than just lovey dovey. It's like it's trusting other people to not hurt you even when you like expose yourself or whatever.
Shall we
That's
go
maybe not the
on?
best way to phrase it.
No, you phrased it great.
Okay.
uh, yeah. Next, more. Do we also
uh,
get Tobias?
yeah.
Also, we talked about is this part too? Tobias
Mm-hmm.
talks to Axe about his little. So Tobias knows,
Yeah.
or no, or he knows that Axe has been sneaking off. Did he actually know that what he's doing?
He knows that he's been sneaking off, and I think he knows he's been talking to the Andalites, and he doesn't know what they've been saying, but he guesses here that they're fucked. He's like, we're fucked, aren't we? They're
Right,
gonna fry us.
right, yeah. His Shorm, good old Shorm Tobias.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Um, I might talk about this a little bit more later, but this whole thing where they're like, we're gonna evacuate the pool.
Right. They decide we'll give them 5 minutes to get out,
Yeah,
then we'll blow it up. That's the compromise.
yeah, that is nothing. You can't evacuate like a building, much less like the entire downtown.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how.
Anyway, whatever.
We'll see what happens. Who knows what'll happen?
We sure will see what happens. Anyway, okay. Let's keep going because we've wasted so much. But honestly, these are the heaviest parts. It should be much easier from here on out. I hope.
Yeah.
You're giving me a dangerous.
Yeah. No.
Okay, so everybody meets up together to sneak up to the National Guard base and steal explosives. And I mean everybody, right? The Animorphs, their parents, the auxiliary Animorphs, a bunch of Hork-Bajir, everybody. And they all, the families, like their parents show up in front of the National Guardsmen and they're like, help, we're lost in the woods and he's hurt. So the guardsmen take them into the base to help them. Marco's dad, who's pretending to be sick, he gets taken to the medical station, and all the other guards, Hork-Bajir, like pop out of the shadows and grab them, and the Animorphs jump in, and their parents like drive the trucks in. They spread out once they're in. They go check the warehouses to see where all the explosives are. There's a couple of scenes of them in there. They find the warehouse. They start loading the trucks, and the alarms go off. They all take off. There's like a bit where Marco almost refuses Jake's orders because they're going to leave without his dad. As they're trying to head out with the bombs, a bunch of soldiers get in their way to stop them. There's a good bit where Rachel's like, just fucking run them over, and Axe and her mom like lie and tell her that Jake gave her an order not to do it, and meanwhile she's like, shut the fuck up, I'm killing them. Anyway, they stop her. She doesn't run over any guards, but all the trucks are surrounded by National Guardsmen now. So some sneaky stealth scenes, some action scenes, some parents talking to the guards, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's fun to have the parents along on a mission for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of funny to see all of them, doing the banter, dealing with listening to their kids.
I don't know how Cassie got her parents out here. I know how Cassie got here. I don't know how she got her parents out here.
She was like, don't you want to look after your little girl? What if there could be an injured goose out there that you need to give a suppository to?
We're stealing an entire huge. These crates are full of injured geese.
That's right.
They're not being taken care of properly.
Maybe they're like, they're hippies. They think they don't know they're going to use the bombs. They're like, yeah, we'll raid the place, steal their weapons of war.
Right. That tracks.
I like that. They're directly talking to Rachel's mom about how fucked up her daughter is.
Yeah, Axe has a line. He says, "You do not need to be afraid on behalf of Rachel. Rachel is the one who frightens others."
That's right. Someone gets mauled by a bear and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks. That's what Rachel says. That's a little Breaking Bad quote from Breaking Bad.
Oh.
That's sort of what that reminded me of. And also you get this, are we talking to the guy yet or no? That's the next part.
Or no, I just want to get, it's mostly just like, there's the scene. Didn't you like
Nothing
the scene
really
where
happens.
they see the guards and Axe, they think he's like I don't even know, a horse or a unicorn.
Sure.
And they say, hey, and Axe says, hey is for horses. I am not a horse, though in some aspects I closely resemble one.
Yeah. I mean, I did. Yes. That was funny.
What about Jolfami Selpik, the Hork-Bajir? That's not a Hork-Bajir name.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Jolfami Selpik. Huh. That's a bit weird.
Yeah, it's not a good one. There's a couple things I guess you can talk about here, but honestly, it's not very important.
There's just a lot of this whole section and the next section. I don't know that I needed all this detail of, well, there's warehouse A through L.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, what are we doing here? Just this plan is kind of boring. And also, it's kind of hard for me to root for this mission to succeed, to be honest. Like, they kind of treat this as a fun hijinks classic Animorphs mission, but I'm like, in the back of my head, are we really dropping bombs on, like, this is kind of fucked
Yeah.
up. I don't know that I'm having that much fun.
Yeah, it is like that is part of the tonal problem where it doesn't you don't have that same emotion or that emotional weight that you should have for bombing the entire like half the downtown area, right? Um there are a couple things here. What is they make a whole big deal about how they need everybody to do this. They're like, if we get this wrong, it's all over and we're fucked. So we need everybody in on this mission, and it better not go wrong because if it does, then we'll lose everybody on this mission. And I'm just like, I feel like the six Animorphs have pulled off heists like this before.
Yeah.
I don't know that we actually did need every single person all in. Like it just
No, probably
and you
not.
didn't really use them in the writing either. Like you used the parents.
I guess you had to have enough people to drive trucks, and we know the Animorphs aren't good at driving.
And James was the guy who saw the warehouse. So imagine if he hadn't been there, they would have had to look longer for the warehouses.
Maybe they just didn't impress upon us enough just how well defended this base is.
Yeah, or maybe they needed to give more warehouse letters so we knew just how many of them they needed to search all of them.
There should have been a little map, like a little blueprint in the book, so you could follow along.
That could have been good.
This could be a board game.
Oh, jeez. I mean, I also think this bit where they're going to leave without Marco's dad and Marco almost disobeys, I think this is a good little scene here because I do not think that Jake would have made a call like this pre-book 49. Like, I think this, like, we're leaving without your dad thing is a post-Jake losing his family call.
It's not bad, but I was a little confused as to, because then one of the other adults is like, your dad will be fine, he'll make it out. I was like, yeah, what is his dad, like, captured? Like, why do they need to go back for him? I didn't really
I mean,
know.
he's over in like the medical station and he's implicated as being with them, I guess.
Can he just leave? Like, are they holding him hostage? I don't know.
I mean, they will once they realize that he came in with a bunch of people. It's not like his dad can morph.
Oh, well, maybe they should have gave him fucking morph powers.
Well, they lost the box before they did that.
Dumbasses. All right. Yeah, it just wasn't fully clear to me, so I was kind of like, do they need to go back? I guess. I don't know.
Whatever. It turns out they don't.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, it turns out he's just fine, so.
Yeah, because so they're stopped by all these soldiers. Jake gets out and starts talking to the guy in charge, Captain Olston. And he's like, so you saw the governor's recent broadcast about how there's aliens, right? And Captain Olson's like, oh yeah, no, my major told me the whole thing was a hoax, and the governor has been taken away to some like rehab center. That Colonel Larson guy, he's being court-martialed, So we find out the Yerks got him, right? They've all got, and they're covering it up. So the Animorphs do like or I guess Axe does like a morphing demonstration to prove that the alien stuff is real. All the soldiers are like, oh, holy shit, I want to believe and all that. Jake informs Olston of the situation and how they're going to bomb the city. And Captain Olston is like, I don't know about this. I don't have any official orders to blow up the whole town. But then Rachel's mom, Naomi, steps out and it turns out she knows him because she represented his son in a court case once. And so she is able to sweet talk him into helping Jake out. And it also becomes clear during this section that his superior is a Yerk, and so he's going to have to act on his own authority here. And he decides, yeah, I'm going to help you. And they load up 5 trucks full of explosives.
5 trucks full. Rachel almost commits just straight up murder.
Yeah, she did almost run those people over.
Like no vague, no yerks, no morphs, just truck on human murder.
Yeah. She's a murderer. What?
She puts her foot on her mom's foot on the gas pedal to get her to ram a truck through a group of human beings.
Yeah. That's Rachel.
Completely fucking lost it.
Yeah, Rachel has lost it.
Good Lord. Crazy shit. Crazy shit. This whole scene, this whole plan, this whole thing that Jake does, it's pretty bad. I think.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, we should be keeping count. How many times do they have to convince people?
yeah,
That
but yeah, the fact
it's true.
He's just like, it's so just luck that any of this works. His plan is just to be like, hey, look, there's aliens. Well, it's a good thing they like. Why should they believe you that these are the good ones? The Yerks would say that too. Like they would also just lie.
Wouldn't. The Yerks would say, ha ha ha, puny human. I'll devour you for dinner.
I mean, maybe you're right, but I don't know. It depends on who's doing it, I guess. But they don't. These humans don't know. They're just like, yeah, we trust you, alien. First alien we've ever met.
Jake's plan was to just somehow leave with all the bombs and not be noticed. Which didn't work.
That also was terrible. He needed what he really needed in this scene. There's you know how I like to talk about the MCU.
I do know how you love to talk about that.
There's a great scene in the first Avengers movie, and you know which one I'm talking about already, I bet, where they're all fighting and Captain America starts barking orders, and they're like, why the fuck should we listen to you? And then he does some badass shit, and immediately the cops are like, yes, sir, we fucking love this guy. We'll do whatever you say, my man. Mm-hmm. And it rules because you're immediately like, oh, we trust this guy. And that we needed a moment like that right here where Jake does something to inspire their loyalty, but he just kind of goes, come on. And then they're like, okay. Well, your mom or your aunt said that we should trust you, so she seems nice.
This is Naomi's time to shine.
Yeah.
It's her only time to do something useful. Right. Other than, I guess, write a constitution.
Yeah, well, whatever about that. But yeah, she's a lawyer, so she's cool. We know her.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine. It's just such a bad plan. It's just it just works out because it has to.
Yeah, and like going back to the earlier thing, it's like, yeah, we needed. This is the most important plan. We can't just use 6 people. We got to use everybody for this plan. Is the plan literally just use more people? Is that his only plan? It's not very good.
Yeah, I don't know. I do like, at least in this version of the explaining Yerks to someone new, there's a line where Axe says, Jake proceeded to tell the captain the Animorph story, beginning with Elfangor. And then they just cut through all that. So I was there for like 20 minutes going from, so we're coming home from the mall one night. You know?
Yeah, I mean, how much of it is just like what you would get in any chapter 1, and how much of it was like, no, he stood there for 5 hours and recited the entirety.
I mean, this is where we get the reference to the governor's speech. So presumably that's doing some of the heavy lifting here. Like which I didn't even remember. Was that at the end of the last book? Did they?
Yeah, at the very end, she does a public broadcast and says Yerks are real and they're here. And I guess at this point we found out that it's been covered up. You know, they're like, oh, she's crazy and on drugs. She's off in rehab now. And none of it was real.
Right. But at least, you know, there's something.
Yeah, I mean, there is something, and I like the reactions of the soldiers. I like the soldiers who are like, wait, so does that mean all that shit I've been reading on the internet is true? Like, I like, there's the, you know, it's like, this hasn't gone unnoticed. People are talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's something. Do we also have in this section the bit with Rachel and her mom?
Yeah.
Where she cries?
Yeah, that happens.
So that's, I guess, does that resolve it? Is that over? Is Rachel nice again?
Yeah, why not? I'm telling you, This is the new theory. This is the new theory. I said it back in book 32, and I was thinking about, bits like this ending here. Eric killed nice Rachel. He didn't put him back together. He tried to put him back together, and he accidentally just killed nice Rachel. He vaporized her. This is just mean Rachel now.
I love it. Mean Rachel wasn't or nice Rachel wasn't killed. She was teleported to another dimension. She's been fighting to get back. No, maybe it's a superior Spider-Man thing. When Doc Ock took over Spider-Man's body, but Spider-Man was still inside of his consciousness, underneath, trying to fight his way out.
Sure. One of the running themes in this book, and I don't know that... It's hard to say that they actually explore it or do much with it, but they do have it for sure, is this question of, like, when do you follow orders versus when do you disobey? Like, when is it right to follow the orders of your leader, right? Like, we've got this scene where Captain Olston has to kind of decide whether or not he's going to keep listening to his major or whether his major's been compromised. You've got this question with Axe of whether he should go against the orders of his people and side with the humans. We've got Cassie's meddling in general, right? Her like, I gave them the cube, I decided what was right. You can contrast it with like Rachel freaking out over Jake at the beginning, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing that
there.
Yeah, there's like, it's definitely, I feel like the book is very much trying to get at that idea, and but I don't know that it does more than just show it to you all over and over again. But it's certainly here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's yeah. It's very much there. It is there. I mean, Axe kind of directly reckons with that with the Andalites. He does have the whole thing of, I'm gonna go against their orders.
Yeah. I mean, he did that though already.
Yeah.
He made that decision.
Right.
And also he already reconciled that plot line 10 books ago. Whatever we don't
right.
That.
Also, he makes a few references in this book to lost childhood. Stuff like that.
That's true.
Which is, obviously a theme of the whole series, but I don't know that it's ever really been as explicitly stated as it is here.
Yeah, I think you're probably, maybe Axis said it once before or something, but yeah, not much.
Yeah, and I think all those sections are well written. Like they even, I don't know, he talks about like the abyss of lost childhood or something like that. It's kind of nice. I mean, nice as in, pleasing prose.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Kimberly Morris is capable of writing Animorphs books that I really, really love, and there are parts of this book that I think are really, really good, and parts of it that are kind of a mess. It bounces back and forth.
Yeah.
All right, another big scene that we might not have much to say about.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, all right, they head back to the city. They got their 5 trucks full of explosives. The Yeerks are now going house to house and are forcing people into the subways at gunpoint. They board the subway and I guess bring a bunch of explosives on it, and there are controllers there. There's an animal fight. James and his people are there too. Olston's National Guardsmen join in and open fire and shoot down all of the animals, and I bet those Yeerks wish that they were carrying Dracon beams instead of fighting as animals, but they were polar bears and they got shot. There's a moment in here where Axe thinks that Cassie might be dead, but it turns out she's not, and he realizes he doesn't hate her. Anyway, yes, they get the explosives on the train, and Axe, Marco, and Cassie go with the train to escort it to the destination of the Yeerk pool while the others hang back. There is a big fight on the train. Controllers are shooting at them from the tracks. Blue bands are there and attack, whatever. Bunch of chapters pass and they make it to the pool. And before we get to them blowing it up, is there anything you want to say about all these chapters?
Just generally it is still fucked up that all these innocent hosts are getting got in morph form.
Yeah.
They no longer give a shit that they're humans. As long as they look like a wolf, they'll just slaughter them.
Rachel doesn't even give a shit if they're bad guys. She'll kill good
Well,
guys if they're human. She'll just kill.
There's this weird little moment where Jake's like, they're about to attack, and he's like, no, let them morph so it's a fair fight. I mean...
Yeah, it's the stupidest fucking thing. Yeah, that made me so angry. It's like, what is this, Dragon Ball Z, and you gotta let him power? That is not how anything works outside of, like, professional sport. You know what I mean? Like, let's get in a ring and see who's the better fight. You're fighting. But nobody fights like that. If you have the drop on your opponent, you take it. You're not worse of a person. I think there's supposed to be a contrast because, like, somebody gets killed mid-morph in the beginning train scene with, like, Rachel in charge. But, like,
Rachel in charge of our fights on a train.
Didn't like that.
And, I mean, like, they've never ambushed enemies before.
Yeah.
They always make sure they have a chance to fight back.
Yeah, is it just because they're morphed? Like,
but then,
again, the Dracon theme, you gotta let him draw his Dracon and point it at you first. You can't.
Yeah, that's absolutely stupid. They could all just have guns, and then it's like, what are you even doing? But they should be saying we shouldn't fight them at all because they're not just dumb aliens we don't like. They're actual human beings with children and lives. But that doesn't come up.
I mean, I do get why nobody but Cassie would say that at this point. Maybe Tobias would say, yes, that's true, but we still aren't going to fight them. Fight them.
But then don't say, give them a fair fight.
Yeah, no, it's like,
it should be, if you're going to do something, it should be the extreme, this half measure. Boy, you know who would hate a half measure?
I don't think you need to finish whatever you're doing.
It's a Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay.
Reference. He goes, no more half measures, Walt.
Okay.
Jonathan Banks.
You didn't have to finish that.
What's his name on the show?
You don't have to finish this thought either.
Shit, because he's on Better Call Saul too. He's a major character. Fuck.
You realized how quickly we breezed through the rest of the book, and you're like, shit, we're not going to make time anymore.
Remembered his real name.
We spent so much time on the first,
the actor's name is Jonathan Banks, which is that's the same name as me.
And the next 2/3, we barely added any time at all.
He's in the first Beverly Hills Cop movie.
So now we're doing this.
If you watch that, you'll see him. He's very much younger. Yeah, I can't remember his name on the show. He works for Gus.
What about the stupid electrocution scene? That also pissed me off.
I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was kind of cool.
Where they get electrocuted and they can like see their bones inside them.
Yeah.
Or the bit where like the electrical wire touches some metal Cassie's holding and she sees the electricity racing toward her and lets go just in time.
That's cool.
That sucks. Fuck off.
No, that's kind of fun. I like that. It's like, oh, that's a cool little scene if you use your environment to take on your enemy.
That only works in like an unrealistic cartoon. If you expect me to
put it
in a book.
This should be animated and it would be cool. Or in a comic
I would
book.
accept it a lot more if it were animated, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
As opposed to written.
Sure. Well, there's a little flip animation in the corner, so technically it's animated.
Well, maybe if they put the electricity there.
I also just think it's funny when they're choosing who to go on the train and Jake's like, remember, whoever goes on this train is probably going to die. I don't know, my girlfriend and my best friend, you guys should go.
I mean, there is like sort of an olive branch there, right? Like that's part of the reconciliation. He's like, I want Cassie to go because I trust her to make the right call finally. And Axe is like, I have to go for my honor.
Yeah.
I mean, he does follow it up with, and Marco will go because, I don't know, I guess he'll go.
Yeah, he literally says, Marco will enjoy the ride or something. he's probably going to die, you said. You're sentencing him to death. What the fuck?
Well, that's the ride he'll enjoy.
This should have a little more weight to it, I think. It's like they're being very flippant about this choice. Why don't you just draw straws like the good old days?
All right.
I'm also still like, I'm just kind of confused about this. I guess they just didn't have time to set this all up, but you couldn't get like a remote detonation or I don't know. they never think about that. I guess you could just say, I don't know, that's not the
Yeah.
right kind of bomb for that or something. Or they
Yeah, I
don't have
mean, it
like,
also, I mean, I get having them there to escort it too. This idea that, like, yeah, we need to make sure it actually works. And
yeah, but then
yeah, I
that
don't know
seems
that
like
it's,
maybe just one person needs to go. I don't know that 3 people needed to go.
yeah, they have Sergeant Tara Weston, explosives specialist, to help set off the bombs. So, like, she set it up, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I would think this base could have a remote detonator. I think
Yeah, I
they
gotcha.
have that equipment. I don't know.
But this makes
Uh,
for a more fun story.
sure. Remember V for Vendetta?
So they get to the pool.
Mhm.
The train gets to the pool, crashes directly into the pool. There is, chaos because it's like, yeah, whatever. There's people and controllers running everywhere. There's dead slugs everywhere. Cassie runs out of the wreckage and, with her human mouth, is like, "Hey everyone, 5 minutes before the entire downtown area is destroyed. Time you got to get out now." Um, Even more chaos ensues. The Yerks are like morphing and trampling each other, trying to get out. The Animorphs, they try to free as many of the like caged hosts as they can, and they notice that like a lot of Yerks seem to have stopped to help them with that. So like, there's a lot of controllers who are like opening up cages to free, um, caged hosts. There's a bit where Visser 1, I'm sorry, shows up as some kind of octopus monster. Doesn't really matter because immediately he has to run because there's a bomb. And anyway, the whole place blows up, and we end with the Animorphs kind of looking down on the wreckage, and like half of the downtown area to their city is just like a massive sinkhole because they blew it all up. Um, so they are kind of realistic here about how well this would work to give people time to get out, and that it does not seem very clear to me that like barely any of the controllers actually managed to get out.
Well, what is it? The plan is just Cassie just yells it at them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I thought before this scene happened, I
Yeah.
thought they were gonna somehow get Eric or some like a resistance Yerk to like leak that they were doing this in
Yeah.
advance. Not that they were literally gonna get there with a bomb and just go, "Hey, it's a bomb."
I mean, Eric would have done that. Like if they were like,
Oh
Eric,
yeah,
hey, we're gonna bomb the whole place and it's too late to stop us, but you know what you could do to save
right.
lives would be to get as many of them out of there as possible. He would have been like, fuck you for bombing it, I guess, but you know what? Maybe not. Like, you know what? That's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah,
Thank you.
makes
So
perfect
like,
sense. And get the whole forget about hiding yourselves. Just get a force of chi out there, herd them out. Um, also, like, I don't, they don't necessarily need to believe her when she says this. How do they
yeah,
know there's a bomb on that train? Visser 1
yeah,
might just be like, this is a bluff. What the fuck? I'm not going to fall for this shit.
yeah. And like that's the thing is that like you're telling me you can evacuate a downtown area, an underground down, like it's not even like just you couldn't evacuate the empty streets, like, or not empty, but like the open streets of a downtown city area in 5 minutes. You couldn't do it. Can't be done. And they're like underground. Like this is just not happening. Like that there's just not. And to be fair, in real life, when governments and militaries are like, we gave them fair warning, we told them what area we were going to bomb, like we're humanitarian, like that's all a lie. That's just there so they can say that to the international community and be like, we're the good guys. See, like that's not real. It doesn't
Yeah.
work that way.
I don't know that we should
And
be,
that is true.
we don't
To-
necessarily want Cassie to be fulfilling that role. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Cassie's just a little bit stupid. I mean, it's not entirely wrong to be all like, Cassie decided that she was going to do it because she didn't feel confident in her ability to tell right from wrong anymore because everyone hated her for the morphing decision. And she had to come up with an excuse for why it was okay for her to do this, so this is what she came up with. And it's not real, but she gets to tell herself it is.
Yeah, I couldn't have packed a megaphone or something. Also, might have just helped, but Fortunate that crashing a train loaded with bombs also didn't set them off.
Well, they had what was her name, Tara Weston, to set it up properly, so they wouldn't.
I mean, look, I don't know much about bombs.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's at least a chance that if you have them on a train and the train crashes into a space, that they might blow up.
Well, that's just because you don't know anything about bombs.
Right.
The detonator on this is totally different.
Okay.
Just because there's a massive crash and explosions and maybe fire everywhere does not mean that they're going to go off.
Cool. On this train, also like full of fuel and whatever else and electricity. I don't know what kind of fucking train this even is.
This train full of fuel and electricity.
Yeah, we know as we established the electricity that's on there.
We did establish that. You're right.
Come on.
Yeah, all right.
There's a guy at the front shoveling coal into a furnace as well, I think. Also, like they could have just been like, what the fuck is this human talking about? Bam, Dracon beam dead.
Yeah.
Get back to work, yerks. Whatever. Visser 1 morphs into a tentacle monster. Multiple tentacle morphs Visser 1 has. We witnessed his one in the last book or two that was the best one ever that almost killed the Animorphs. He only brings that one out on special occasions. This merited only one of his lesser tentacle morphs. Not the real good one.
You can't be repeating morphs.
No, that's true. Yeah. He's style over substance, this guy. That's true.
There is a dog absolutely fucking screaming outside my room, so I'm sorry if you heard that.
Wow, I can't hear it, but it might. It could be on the recording, but okay. We'll find out.
If the listeners hear it, they'll hear it.
Great, that's great. Well, I mean, I have final thoughts about kind of where we end up here, but I don't know if you have more train thoughts.
No, I mean, it's just this big thing that we talked about at the beginning, but I feel like this is really the point. I don't feel it. You know, this scene is horrifying, right? Like they have crossed a line here, right? Like we've gone from just like we're fighting bad guys, sometimes we even kill enemy soldiers, to we bombed half a city. We just like straight up bombed massive amounts of civilian infrastructure because we thought that's what was necessary to take out the bad guys. And whether or not it was, like, you've crossed a line. And it's like a really horrific line to cross. And the characters they say some sentences about it where they're like, man, I can't believe that this is what it's come to and this is what we've done. You know, that this is our greatest victory, but I don't feel it. I don't feel that this is impactful. I know it is, but it doesn't, it feels like another big Animorph story that ends on some horrifying thing. Okay, cool. We're done with that story now. And I feel like it shouldn't feel like that.
I feel you on it feeling like it shouldn't feel.
Uh-huh.
And I feel that part of the problem is we have done so many Yerkpool things. Mm-hmm. I mean, it should be it's the centerpiece of their organization. Mm-hmm. Although, to be honest, I don't even know that I was ever clear on, like, aren't there other Yerkpools or smaller ones, or I don't know. Do we even know? How do we know? I guess Eric tells us that this is the only big one, I guess. I don't know how it works. But regardless, it's maybe just it's just started to feel like, I think it's another point against the length of the series that the Yerkpool no longer feels like, oh man, it's under the school and everyone goes there and, oh, it's full of mystery and secrecy and it's horrible in there. And it's now just, Yeah, the fucking Yerk pool. Sometimes they do a thing there and they do a little fight and then they leave. It's like,
And part of the problem is that the focus is still on the Yerk pool, right? Like the focus
yeah,
should be it should be on the fact that it is under the school. Like they should be nobody's really talking about how they're going to blow up the school. Is anyone in that school? They're going to blow up the McDonald's. Anybody in there? The mall. They're going to blow.
yeah,
Is anyone in there? There's not really any
yeah.
thought given to that. What about all of the innocent hosts? What about all of the Yerk peace movement, Yerks that,
Mm,
we've got this scene with the hosts, screaming in cages to be let out because they're going to die in the blast. We see empathetic Yerks helping them free these
hosts.
hosts, but yeah, but like so much of the focus is just on, and then Visser 3 was a scary monster, and there were Yerks morphing everywhere and we're underground. There's very little time in this book spent to the weight of what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah. It's a bit. It feels uneven in that regard.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. It's also maybe like you were saying, the focus is on the Yerk pool. Maybe another problem of that is that it feels like we should have resolved the Yerk pool
Hmm.
earlier. Like we have not escalated the end point of the stakes here since book 1. Like
Hmm.
we're still on the Yerk pool. That's still the thing. Which it makes sense, but when you kind of look at it, look at the big picture, it's like, I mean, even Visser 3, but it's, I can forgive that, but it's like, this is still, well, like book 1 was let's
Yeah.
take down the Yerk pool.
Yeah,
It
but
took
I
us
mean,
this long?
to be fair, book 1 shows the Urkpool as this huge, imposing, like
Yeah.
unstoppable threat, and then here it's like, okay, we finally finished the arc of like taking it out, and
Yeah.
that is something. But yeah, I mean, like,
Maybe it feels too easy even. I mean,
yeah,
sure, I guess you had to take a whole military base and load bombs onto a train. I mean,
yeah,
that's not easy, but it kind of just feels like I don't know. Why didn't you do this in book 30? Like, it doesn't feel like
mhm,
this had to happen now. I mean, I
right.
guess it's because they're desperate now and
Yeah,
everything's
and the reason again is because of all the fucking casualties that they're
right.
like nobody looks at it and says, "So how many innocent people do you think we killed? 10,000?" Right? Like that just doesn't come up. How many we're not going to talk about that.
They do say
It
they
feels
feel
censored
bad.
in a way.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
It
censored like they
It's like in the
yeah,
the old trope with the kids cartoons where it's like you
right.
blow up a building in the superhero cartoon, but we show one guy getting out, so that way the parents can say, "See, they all got out." It feels kind of like that, and that cheapens it because this should be devastating and not a see. Look, Visser 1 got out. You know.
Yeah. I mean, we do yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the next book will reckon with some of this. I feel like it must. I mean, this is a huge development. The mall is blown up. Like all these places are blown up.
Hmm.
So whether or not there were people in them, that's pretty significant. It's also other than, I'm sure they have some portable Candronas and whatnot that aren't very big, but theoretically, over the next 3 days, a lot of Yerks will starve and die.
Hmm.
But unless I don't know, beginning of next book, we found some more Candronas. It didn't really matter. Like that could happen as far as I know.
Yeah, I think the only source to rival this, like last time that they blew up the Earthbound Kandrona, they had to shuffle people up to the like pool ship or mothership or whatever they were calling it at the time.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
like I
that,
kind of wish maybe that was the thing in this book. Instead of the pool, they were blowing up the mothership.
mhm,
Like that again, that removes your problem of casualties, and it feels like an escalation from the Yerk pool as well. I
mhm.
don't know. I don't know. Um, Overall, like repeating a lot of things I said, I'm still not fully sold on Axe's war within himself. I think it needed more time to cook, but I do like the note that it ends on.
Mhm.
Most of the character stuff is working. It just feels rushed in some areas or not fully fleshed out. There are a lot of balls in the air at this point.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of balls. 17 of them that we haven't spent a lot of time on.
There's only really 5 of them that matter. You can kind of hand wave the other, but the ones that actually got like lines and names, yeah.
Remember the
those ones kind of
Elemist?
matter. Mm-hmm.
How come none of the Animorphs...
that? They did remember they did that whole Chronicles, and then Krayak showed up with the Drode, and that's all,
it feels like
Is that not satisfying to you?
Shouldn't they just every once in a while be looking around being like, hey, Elemist, help now? Or like, I don't know. It's like, he's out there. It feels like they don't acknowledge his existence at all. I don't know. Did Axe tell the Andalites about the Elemist? Do they know?
Good question.
It's this. I'm that has to be coming back. I'm waiting for it. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen. We got 2 books to go. KA's coming back in the kitchen.
She sure is.
Where she belongs. No, come on. No, come on. I mean, in writing the book, where she belongs, writing the book, it was a metaphor. Come on. Was that? Hey, don't make jokes like that. It's really offensive. Okay.
That's your new, every time you think you're in trouble, that's what you're going to go for.
I double down on it and that cancels it out.
Right, but you double down in a safe way, so then everybody laughs again, and it's like, okay, I get it.
Then they remember, I do like laughing at other cultures. It's not that bad.
He's just being a funny guy.
Yeah, he's just a silly guy. I can't cancel him. It's me, Mario.
It's your birthday. You can't,
Right.
They can't cancel you on your birthday.
That happened already. That's over.
Well, but it's still sort of.
Sure.
I basically agree with you on this book. I think I'm less. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I'm less sold on. I don't. A lot of this Axe character stuff doesn't feel like it should have happened this way or here. But I do like all the character work with the other characters. I do like the way they're progressing. I mean, I do like that they are committing atrocities and blowing up the Yerk pool. I think that's all good. I wish it was handled a little bit differently. But that being said, I do still like enough parts of this book that I can't fully be like, Kimberly Morris. I know she wrote some good ones, and so I don't know. I'm torn on it.
It's another one of the books that it feels. I feel like we sound much more harsh on it in discussing it than I actually felt reading it, because there are just so many things that are, if you pick them apart. I mean, you don't even have to pick them apart that much, but they're just like, well, that doesn't make sense, or what's this character doing? But, it has momentum. The plot is moving. Like you said, the ideas are good. The broad strokes are interesting, even if they're not supported that well all the time. So, and there's a couple like decent action scenes, so it's like, it's like, it's decent. I think the biggest issue is that this is so close to the end that it's like, decent or even good maybe isn't good enough.
Yeah. I mean, it also does just have the problem of like the parts of this book that I like are, I don't have much to say about them beyond just like, I liked that. That's nice. And then the parts that I didn't like are the parts that are very deconstructible, right? So you just end up spending a lot more words on not liking it. But
yeah, that happens. I almost forgot my favorite part of the book I really need to mention, which is when they're worrying about, killing innocents in the Yerk pool by blowing them up, and Axe says, none of us really cared about the Taxons, though.
I did take note of that.
Even Cassie is like, yeah, fuck those things. Fuck those sacks of guts.
Fuck you, Cassie.
Hey, come on.
How
dare you?
You're no empath or whatever the fuck you are.
Here's the good news. The really good news. There's very little pop culture in this book. Also, kind of strange, and that kind of added to just how dour and serious this book felt. there's no Marco doesn't bring up Baywatch at all. It's just fucking very dry. Now I don't know, some of these you maybe didn't even count because there's maybe only one real one. But I counted just for, the sake of, making sure it's all on the record. Pop culture references from this book, they do mention World War II, the United States Navy, the National Guard, and specifically an F-14D Tomcat, which of course is what Axe was flying in that one book with the nuke.
Icons of pop culture.
They're references to things, man-made icons of pop culture, yes. And finally, maybe one of the few moments of levity in the whole book. They're in one of the warehouses. I think it was L, maybe, or B. Maybe it was A. Might have been the first one they found. And there's all these boxes, and they're all labeled spam. And Axe asks, "What is spam?" And Marco says, "That's what a lot of people would like to know." So that's a funny bit about how spam is what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's it. That's it.
You think Spam Viking liked that joke?
Oh, Spam Viking probably loved that joke. Spam Viking. You know what the problem is when we don't have emails and shit in the beginning? I keep forgetting to plug our Patreon.
I just realized that now too. What the fuck?
I'm really off my game, man.
Yeah.
Well, now is the time. But if you like this show and you want more of it, you definitely got to head over to patreon.com/theyerkyboys for $5 a month. You get a bonus episode every week where we talk about different media that is in some way related to Animorphs. And I got to say, this week, pretty relevant to this book in particular, I would say. We are going to be discussing the sci-fi novel Ender's Game. And I'm looking forward to that discussion. I think that's going to be a really good episode. So you want to tune in over there and get all that action.
Yeah, it's a good time over there. We all love each other. We all have fun. It's a party, nonstop. $5 a month.
And if you do want to send us a question or a comment, theyerkyboys@gmail.com is where to go. We'll read it on the air, but I understand if you're saving. I mean, I got it already. It's time to almost start thinking about your, end of series thoughts for us to include maybe in the season recap episode, not even necessarily in the next 2 book episodes, because there's 2 left. We're back to Applegate. It's the final 2 books.
Yeah, get hype.
I never thought this day would come.
It's Applegate time. Yeah, you thought you'd be dead by now.
And this is, maybe you already said it last week. I don't even remember. I think this is the last time I don't know what the next cover of a book will look like.
Yes, because I think you know what's on the last cover.
Yeah, I've seen the last cover, but I don't know what to expect. So this is it. This is my last moment of innocence for a cover.
Ooh, pretty exciting.
Just let's all bask in it for just a second.
Yeah, the last animal. Ooh, what do you think it's gonna be?
I think it's gonna be like another dog or something, or a bird.
What does Jake turn into?
Yeah,
a dog or a bird, huh?
Or a bug, maybe. So, I mean, I think it's gonna be underwhelming.
Well,
I mean, bird or bug pretty much covers like 80% of the possibilities. But yeah, let's hear it.
Thanks everyone for listening.
Oh, and follow us online in the show notes too.
Tune in next time when we'll be talking about book 53, The Answer, in which Jake turns into an anaconda on the Yerky Boys.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that coming.